Chapter 1970. Ah, don't look so shocked. If fellow ye doesn't do anything wrong, I'll accept the treasures. Just when everyone was in shock, the patriarch of hell came over with a laugh and put away the spirit treasures. His face was full of pride. You, shameless, eminent. Instantly, the true spirit palace powerhouses showed ferocious expressions and scolded the patriarch. However, the patriarch did not care and put away the treasures. He had made a killing this time. Yichun, you've done well this time, Lord True Soul said. Lord True Soul, I don't need your approval. Yichun replied coldly. He was not the Lord True Soul's subordinate. This operation was just a deal, so he did not need the Lord True Soul's approval. How dare you? Many powerhouses scolded Yichun, but were stopped by Lord True Soul. To open the core of the three realms, the assistance of an extremely talented person was needed. This was the test of the core of the three realms. Although the Lord True Soul's foundation was unfathomable and his cultivation base was profound, he was not confident in his talent. According to ancient records, the core of the three realms required a person with unprecedented talent. Therefore, he had his eyes on Yichun, a talented person. Now is not the time to fall out with Yichun. He had to stabilize Yichun. After achieving his goal, how could he let such a talented person stay? Lord True Soul turned to look at the altar and continued to comprehend the immortal techniques. How greedy! Yichun sneered, but he knew very well that most of the immortal techniques were secretly absorbed by the space-time Fury Dragon and entered the ancient god space. Therefore, as long as Yichun sat cross-legged and pretended to meditate, he could secretly cultivate those immortal techniques. The people of the True Spirit Palace watched Yichun meditate and thought that he had exhausted too much spiritual power in the previous battle and needed to rest. This kid is exhausted. He's not as powerful as I thought. Yes, the Spirit Lord is the best. Many True Spirit Palace powerhouses were still numbing themselves. They knew very well that even the Lord True Soul could not compare to Yichun's talent to be able to kill a body integration cultivator with a tribulation stage foundation. As Yichun sat cross-legged and meditated, Wu Shuang stood nearby to guard him. Meanwhile, the patriarch began to study the spirit artifacts that he had obtained this time. In such a harsh environment, one could die at any time. The patriarch had to improve his combat strength as much as possible, and these spirit artifacts provided him with such a possibility. He did not want to become Yichun's burden. At this moment, Yichun's primordial spirit sat cross-legged in the ancient god space. Around him, all kinds of immortal technique veins soared into the air, evolving into all kinds of magical forms. There are all sorts of strange, immortal spells. This isn't a formation, but something that the immortal casually created. This immortal is very strong, perhaps even stronger than the Lord of True Spirit. Otherwise, the Lord of True Spirit wouldn't value these immortal spells so much and even be searching for the person who stole them. Yichun observed the immortal spells in front of him carefully. Countless constitutional rules appeared in his eyes. The netherworld energy contained in these immortal spells was very strange, and it was closer to demonic energy. Since that's the case, I'll use that eye technique. Fire eyes which eyes. Yichun's eyes shone with a dark light. Suddenly, the surrounding space changed color. Yichun's eyes seemed to see through everything. Buzz, buzz, buzz. As the witch eyes kept looking at the immortal spells, the most profound rules in the immortal spells gradually appeared. Very good. Relying on the various experiences from his past life, Yichun quickly integrated these rules and evolved them into his own through the ancient god space. If the Lord of True Spirit knew about such a shocking speed of comprehension, he would be furious and even give up. He could not imagine that there was such a fast method of comprehension in this world, just by relying on a pair of witch eyes. Countless immortal spells surged like a tide, all of them becoming clear in the witch eye's field of vision. After comprehending so many immortal spell veins, the height of Yichun's rules continued to soar. Yichun! Suddenly, a cold shout woke Yichun up. Yichun opened his eyes, and a vigorous demonic energy erupted, causing the surrounding True Spirit Palace combatants to retreat, looking shocked. What's wrong with this kid? That power just now? It feels like demonic energy, but it's not exactly the same. It's a little strange. Everyone was suspicious, but no one gave an answer. The Lord of True Spirit narrowed his eyes slightly, but did not pursue the matter. Yi Chun, the altar has been opened. Come with us immediately. Yi Chun's eyes were cold, and he followed. The three of them followed the crowd and entered the altar. Up in the void, in the clouds, Hei Tong continued to release Nether Force, transmitting information to the Underworld Hall. Within the Underworld Hall, Hades' sovereign, Yu Wang, and the Archemperor were all there. Reporting to your excellency, Lord Dog Sovereign has died in battle. What? Hades' sovereign was shocked, jumping to his feet. He could not believe that someone could kill Dog Sovereign. Is the Lord of True Spirit really that strong? Yu Wang asked, but the reporting powerhouse stammered, causing Yu Wang to be furious. Speak. Yes. Reporting to your excellency, it was Yi Chun who killed Dog Sovereign, and he crushed him. Crushed him? Yu Wang's eyes bulged, and she bared her teeth. How is that possible? If Dog Sovereign fought to the limit, his foundation would be raised to the conjoint body stage. Although Yi Chun's talent is extraordinary, and his cultivation speed is shocking, he's only in the early tribulation passing stage. There's no way he could have killed Dog Sovereign. Your Excellency, I don't dare to lie. This is a message from Hei Tong. With that, the powerhouse released Nether Force, and an image appeared before everyone's eyes. Hiss, hiss, hiss. On the image, detailed information about Yi Chun killing Dog Sovereign appeared. The three sovereigns were shocked. Yi Chun had really crushed Dog Sovereign. This kid's talent is so strong, as expected of someone the Lord of True Spirit values. The Lord of True Spirit hasn't returned, and there are many people in the underworld who covet the position of Lord of True Spirit. We can't let the underworld fall into chaos. And Mechum, the three sovereigns sighed, thinking about how to deal with Yi Chun and the others. At this time, Yi Chun and the others had passed through the altar and arrived at the depths of the Emperor of Hell Mountain Range. Hiss, hiss, hiss. The Lord of True Spirit released the Nether Spirit Pearl again, continuing to search for the core of the three realms. This way, he pointed in a direction, and everyone rushed in that direction. Soon, a dark lake appeared in front of them. They stopped and looked at the lake, and found that the water was so dark that they could not see what was at the bottom. Hiss, hiss, hiss. The Nether Spirit Pearl floated next to the lake, as if hinting at something. Could it be that the core of the three realms is at the bottom of the lake? The Lord of True Spirit thought. You go down and take a look, huh? Chapter 1971. The person who was called was stunned. How could he have thought that he would be taken advantage of? Lord Spirit Lord, I cut the crap. Hurry up. Ling Jun scolded from the side. Yes, the person knew that he could not avoid it, so he could only jump into the lake. Bang! As the figure entered the water, everyone looked at the surface, hoping to find some information. However, they saw nothing, and the person who jumped into the water had disappeared. Many combatants came to the lake, wanted to see what was going on, but they could not see the scene clearly. Yi Chun did not look at it directly because he knew very well that there was a barrier in the lake. It did not want outsiders to see what was inside. He used his senses to sense the energy in the lake and analyze the information from it. Hiss, hiss, hiss. He closed his eyes and focused. Waves of energy fluctuations flowed into his body. There's something strange in the water. Yi Chun sensed that the lake contained powerful energy, but he could not even see the source of this energy clearly. What was this powerful energy? Yi Chun wondered if this was the three realms core that the True Spirit Lord had mentioned. What's going on? Why isn't he coming up? A combatant asked impatiently. This kid couldn't have died in there, right? Just as someone was half joking and shouting, the surface of the water suddenly rippled. Then, a shocking scene appeared. Clang, clang, clang. Before everyone's eyes, a skeleton was thrown out. Seeing the skeleton, it naturally reminded them of the combatant who had entered the water. It seems that there's danger in the water, the True Spirit Lord said, but a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. He walked to the lake and looked into it. Spirit Lord, be careful. Ling Jun shouted. Huh, the three realms core is in this lake. The true Spirit Lord said with a smile. Yichen remained calm. Although he sensed that the energy was powerful, he did not think that it was the three realms core. This meant that there was other energy in the lake. However, he did not know if the true Spirit Lord did not sense it or was just pretending. Rumble. At this moment, above the Emperor of Hell Mountain, muffled thunder rumbled. Looks like they're here. The Lord of True Spirit looked up into the sky and said, The 18 Underworld Emperors won't let you get the three realms core so easily, Yichen said. So what? I can get it right away, and then you can open it. True Spirit Lord, let me give you a word of advice. The water isn't that simple. Ha ha. Do you think the Spirit Lord would be afraid? The true Spirit Lord sneered. He thought that Yichen was deliberately misleading him. After all, Yichen had not given him the nether energy crystal for him to look for Su Yuan. It was normal for him to bear a grudge. Seeing that the true Spirit Lord did not listen to his advice, Yichen did not say anything else. He had to wait for the right time, and his only goal was the dark chi crystal. Ling Jun, bring some people to guard the mountain range. Don't let them attack within 2 hours. Yes. Ling Jun led the experts who had absorbed the power of the dark water and flew up towards the top of the mountain range. Yichen and the other two stood by the lake and waited. Plop! The Lord of True Spirit jumped into the lake and disappeared with a whirlpool. Fellow Yi, did you sense something? The patriarch saw that Yichen had his eyes closed and knew that Yichen must have done something. That's right. There might be another powerful force underwater. That powerhouse might not have been devoured by the Three Realms Core force. What do you mean? The Three Realms Core is such an important thing. Do you think the 18 emperors of the underworld would guard it so carelessly? That makes sense. The patriarch looked at the ripples in the lake and smiled gloatingly. He was waiting for the true Spirit Lord to encounter some surprise. Let me recommend you the app I've been using recently. It's supported on both Android and Apple phones. At this moment, the true Spirit Lord had already jumped into the water and was flying underwater. Releasing psionic power as a counterforce, the true Spirit Lord rushed toward the underwater secret treasure. Rumble. At this moment, there was a loud bang underwater. The powerful water tornado almost made the true Spirit Lord lose his balance. The true Spirit Lord felt the strange and powerful force and released a psionic barrier. Is it really not because of the Three Realms Core force? At this moment, he recalled Yichen's advice. Could it be that Yichen had already sensed this force? The true Spirit Lord still did not believe this. He had not sensed it before. How could Yichen sense it? Was Yichen's perception above his? However, he was the true Spirit Lord after all. He was the strongest person in the true Spirit Palace. Even if he encountered great danger, he would not panic. Eye of True Spirit. He opened his spirit eye and observed the surrounding water. Under the water, he found a huge dark substance. This is the true Spirit Lord immediately recalled the dark water power he had absorbed. The characteristics were similar to this dark substance. It can't be. This is the darkness pool. Although he did not want to believe this guess, the power in front of him and the power he had absorbed were of the same source. The power here was many times stronger than the power he had absorbed before. This was the true source of the dark water. Rumble. The darkness pool below continued to rumble as if a ferocious beast was about to devour everything in front of it. This horror and the mental suppression caused by the water pressure would instantly collapse or even kill a Mahayana martial artist on the spot. This was the reason why the previous combatant had turned into a skeleton. The true Spirit Lord continued to strengthen the power of his barrier. He knew that once the dark energy touched him, the consequences would be unimaginable. Immortal True Spirit Method, Jade Ray Wheel. Forming a seal with both hands, the true Spirit Lord released an immortal spell. Suddenly, waves of psionic power swirled around his body and finally formed a full moon-like halo that covered his body. All darkness could not get close to him. Boom, boom, boom. Just as the true Spirit Lord condensed the Jade Ray Wheel and wanted to investigate further, The darkness pool suddenly exploded. 3 ink-like substances rushed toward the true Spirit Lord. Immortal True Spirit Method, Soaring Dragon. The true Spirit Lord's brow flickered. He spat out an immortal spell, and a jade dragon swept out. Roar! The jade dragon stirred the water and formed a frenzied attack that rushed toward the 3 inks. Boom, boom, boom. The energy under the water exploded and shook the world. Yi Chun and the other 2 were shocked by the scene. Ha ha ha, fellow Yi, it seems that old thing is having fun under the water. The patriarch said with a smile. The true Spirit Lord is very arrogant. I'll teach him a lesson this time. However, the dark energy crystal is still with him. I can't let him die. Yi Chun narrowed his eyes and walked toward the lake. To be continued. Chapter 1972. Yi Chun walked to the lakeside, his eyes glowing with flames. With the help of the golden pupil fiery eyes, he could faintly see that under the water, masses of dark matter were fighting the true Soul Lord, even putting him at a disadvantage. The true Soul Lord was a super powerhouse of itinerant, immortal rank. Such a person would not easily make a move. Once he did, it would be earth-shattering. Yi Chun did not expect the underwater power to put him in such a difficult position. This showed how extraordinary this power was. Roar! At this moment, Yi Chun suddenly felt the space-time fury in his body begin to go berserk. This made him very puzzled. Could it be, he looked at the underwater power and could not help but think that the space-time fury had some kind of connection with the underwater power. Even the underwater power was summoning the space-time fury. Wu Shuang, Patriarch, stay here and don't move. All right. Seeing Yi Chun's serious expression, the Patriarch knew that he was going to do something big. The 2 of them stayed on the shore. Splash! Yi Chun jumped into the water and released his psionic energy to speed up the sinking. Under the water, the 100-meter radius of the true Soul Lord was surrounded by 3 masses of dark matter. Thump, thump, thump. These dark matter came in different forms and could even evolve into different forms. Yi Chun saw 3 huge fists constantly hammering the true Soul Lord. Seeing this scene, Yi Chun found it funny. The invincible true Soul Lord was now like a student who had made a mistake and was being beaten like a sandbag. Thump, thump, thump. Each punch was extremely powerful and could even easily create a waterspout, turning the world upside down. However, the dark matter seemed to limit the spread of these powers, concentrating them to attack the true Soul Lord. Yi Chun did not alarm the true Soul Lord. Instead, he watched from the side. He wanted to see what this dark matter was and what the source of the darkness was. Immortal Spirit Method, Immeasurable Sword. At this moment, the true Soul Lord was already having a headache because of the dark matter. All kinds of immortal spells and abilities were constantly attacking, but when faced with the dark matter, it was like punching cotton. The feeling of helplessness made the true Soul Lord feel despair. Damn it! The true Soul Lord was enraged. Psionic energy erupted from his body. At this moment, an incomparably huge jade light wheel appeared behind him. Meanwhile, outside the Emperor of Hell Mountain, Ling Jun and the other True Spirit Hall combatants were guarding. They were facing the Underworld army, personally led by the Hell Sovereign. At the sight of this soaring radiance, the Hell Emperor revealed a cold smile. It seems like the true Spirit Lord has already fallen into the trap. Hell Sovereign laughed. That's right. So what if you are a rogue immortal? You can only die if you are trapped by the source of darkness. Yu Wang continued. What did you say? Hearing their words, Ling Jun could feel their deep malice, and he felt very guilty. Ling Jun, the true Spirit Lord is dead for sure this time around. Yu Wang spoke. What a joke. How could the Spirit Lord die? No danger can hurt the Spirit Lord. We, the true Spirit Palace, have the core of the 3 realms. The Netherworld, the Spirit Realm, and the Devil Realm will be under our control. Ha ha ha. Upon hearing Ling Jun's words, the Hell Sovereign burst into laughter. What are you laughing at? I'm laughing at your naivety. The Hell Emperor revealed a ferocious expression. The core of the 3 realms is so important. Do you think we'll let the true Spirit Lord take it away so easily? Let me tell you, the thing in the lake is the most ancient source of darkness. It is an existence that only the Nether Lord can communicate with. Even I don't dare to approach it, let alone the true Spirit Lord. What do you mean? The source of darkness can absorb any kind of energy. The stronger the true Spirit Lord is, the stronger it can absorb energy until the true Spirit Lord runs out of energy and is devoured by the source of darkness. I don't believe it. Ling Jun roared in rage. His eyes turned red. He was no longer able to control the dark water in his body. You absorb the power of the Ming water. Although your foundation has improved greatly, you have also been controlled by the power of the Ming water. The power of the Ming water is an extension of the origin of darkness. Ling Jun, you have also fallen into it. No. Ling Jun wanted to act, but he suddenly felt that his body was no longer under his control. Impossible. He didn't believe it. His eyes protruded as his body started to explode. The experts of the True Spirit Hall all fell into panic. Lord Ling Jun. They could only watch as Ling Jun collapsed, unable to move. In fact, many experts who absorbed the dark water started to experience the same symptoms. Before this, they were told that they could ascend after absorbing the dark water, but no one told them about the side effects of the dark water. Arg! Ling Jun howled. He wanted to make a final gamble. True Spirit's wrath, Jade shatters. He would rather die in glory than live in dishonor. Ling Jun knew that his body had reached its limit and was about to explode soon. He dashed toward the Hell Sovereign. Oh! However, all of this was under Hell Sovereign's control. The reason why Ling Jun was like this was because he had secretly used a special technique to activate the dark water in the leader's body. Hell Sovereign's annihilation kill. Hell Sovereign roared in rage. His powerful dark energy turned into a huge hand, reaching out from the dark clouds in the sky and grabbing Ling Jun and O. Ling Jun felt that his body had reached its limit, and he couldn't get close to Hell Sovereign. Such despair made him scream at the top of his lungs. Lord Ling Jun. Many experts of the True Spirit Hall fell into despair. Even Ling Jun couldn't touch a hair of Hell Sovereign. What else could they do? The Spirit Lord told them that absorbing the dark water would make them invincible, but they were like ants in front of Hell Sovereign. Such a contrast caused their minds to completely collapse. Of course, the dark water played a role in this. As the power that was split from the origin of darkness, which controlled mental power, it had an extremely strong mental disturbance to the people of the spirit realm. Ha 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 kill. Yes, Lord Hell Sovereign. Seeing that the people of the True Spirit Hall were paralyzed, the underworld experts attacked one after another, showing no mercy. For a time, the smell of blood filled the entire sky. Countless True Spirit Hall experts died on the spot, leaving no bones behind. At this moment, in the lake, the True Spirit Lord released the True Spirit great ability to resist the source of darkness. Chi chi chi. As time passed, the True Spirit Lord's power was rapidly draining. This was because the source of darkness devoured all kinds of power. This was its instinct and nature. Nothing could escape its control. Dong dong dong. The three fists were still hammering the True Spirit Lord. Although each punch was not fatal, they were breaking down the True Spirit Lord's defense. Not only his physical defense, but also his mental defense. In other words, these dark balls not only had dark energy attacks, but they also had mental control. Phew! Suddenly, a heavy breathing sound came from the surrounding space, making people feel extremely uneasy. Yi Chun, who had been observing for a long time, felt that he was being targeted. End of this chapter. Chapter 1973. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Suddenly, masses of dark matter surged toward Yi Chun. This lake was the domain of the origin of darkness. Yi Chun had long been under its observation. It's here. Yi Chun's spirit was shaken and flames shot out from his eyes. Even in this underwater world, the power of the true Samadhi fire did not diminish. It exploded, and even the water had to make way for it. The dark matter was unable to approach the true Samadhi fire. This gave Yi Chun room to continue observing. At this moment, the dark matter that attacked the true spirit lord began to split. The previous 3 punches turned into 6 punches, then 9 punches. Even Yi Chan was amazed by such a powerful vitality and splitting ability. How did such a form of energy form come into being? Roar! At this moment, the space-time wrath roared again, as if it had a strong obsession with the dark matter. Yi Chan felt puzzled and began to use the mind connection to obtain the space-time wrath's intentions. At this time, the dark matter attacked again. This time, the dark matter was completely different from before. It contained a stronger power and even a powerful power of the natural order, causing the surrounding water to change. Boom, boom, boom. Lord True Spirit was trapped in the mass of dark matter, constantly receiving heavy blows. His foundation was constantly weakening, but the source of darkness didn't weaken at all. Instead, it was constantly strengthening. This kind of situation put Lord True Spirit at a great disadvantage. Impossible! How can this Spirit Lord fail here? The True Spirit Lord also noticed the danger he was in. He discovered that it was extremely difficult for him to leave the lake, let alone destroy the origin of darkness and obtain the 3 realms core. This was a hopeless situation. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The origin of darkness spewed out strange, ink-like energy again, surrounding the true Spirit Lord. This energy was much sharper than before. Boom, boom, boom. This energy took various forms and attacked the true Spirit Lord. In the beginning, the true Spirit Lord could still deal with it, but as time passed, everything changed. Ling Jun, the true Spirit Lord, sent a voice transmission, wanting to summon Ling Jun to help him escape, but he did not know that Ling Jun had already failed. In the external world, the experts of the True Spirit Hall were all killed by the Hell Sovereign and Yuan. In fact, the experts of the True Spirit Hall who remained on the lake didn't have time to save the True Spirit Lord because the Hell Sovereign had already arrived. If you dare to enter the Netherworld, then you shall walk the path of death. Yin Emperor released Yin Fire, and the surrounding space instantly turned into a purgatory state. Such a powerful force trapped the experts of True Spirit Palace who had stayed here. They were completely unable to resist the power of the Yama fire. Soon after, they discovered that their life energy was continuously draining away. The power of the dark water that they had previously absorbed was now flowing in reverse, starting to obstruct the circulation of their spiritual energy. They were completely in a hopeless situation. Ha ha ha! The Hell Sovereign laughed loudly. With a wave of his hand, the Hell Sovereign saber took his life mercilessly. Chi chi chi. The heads of countless experts flew into the sky, their bodies and Tao vanishing. Hoo hoo hoo. After that, the corpses of these people were completely incinerated by Yin fire, leaving no trace behind. Under the water, the Lord of True Spirit clearly sensed the aura of the Hell Sovereign and the others, and he became even more anxious. He understood that the odds were against Ling Jun and the others. Now, the only person he could rely on was himself. Yichen opened his fiery eye and looked at the outside world. He also saw the figures of the Hell Sovereign and the others. The Patriarch and Wu Shuang were already trapped by the Hell Sovereign, so he did not have it easy either. Now it's a game of chess. What he wanted was to wait for the Lord of True Spirit to show a weakness. At that time, he would obtain the Dark Energy Crystal and find Su Yuhan. However, in the outside world, the Patriarch and Wu Shuang were also in danger. This was the importance of time, but it depended on how long the Lord of True Spirit could last. As the dark matter under the water continued to increase, the pressure on the Lord of True Spirit increased. He had already fallen into the control of the origin of darkness. No, it's still too slow. The Lord of True Spirit's foundation is too strong. If I rely on the origin of darkness, it might take too much time. Yi Chen's eyes revealed a murderous glint. He wanted to take a gamble and do it himself. Only by giving the Lord of True Spirit enough pressure would he have more chances. Netherworld Finger of Destruction. Yi Chen activated his murderous energy. The gates of death behind him opened and pointed his sword at the Lord of True Spirit. Before his life was in danger, the Lord of True Spirit immediately sensed Yi Chen's killing move. Yi Chen, it's you, Lord of True Spirit. Hand over the dark energy crystal, and I'll help you escape. Since he was discovered, Yi Chen showed himself without hiding. Ha ha! If you want the dark energy crystal, you'll have to help me escape first. Lord of True Spirit, you don't seem to understand the situation. Yi Chen's eyes turned cold. Without another word, he attacked. You, the Lord of True Spirit, did not expect Yi Chen to be so decisive. He looked back at the lake and sneered. Ha! It seems like your two friends are in danger above the lake. Yi Chen attacked angrily. The netherworld finger stirred the water and went straight for the Lord of True Spirit. Rumble. It swept over unstoppably. The Lord of True Spirit was shocked. Immortal techniques erupted from his entire body to resist the predicament before him. As an itinerant immortal, the Lord of True Spirit's foundation was unquestionable. He was an absolute powerhouse. Even when faced with the double pressure from Yi Chen and the dark matter, he still chose to resist. Immortal True Spirit Method, Jade Halo. This time, the Lord of True Spirit released 3 Jade Halos. 2 halos resisted the dark matter, while 1 halos resisted Yi Chen. However, he had underestimated Yi Chen's strength. This time, the netherworld finger that Yi Chen used contained not only spiritual power, but also demonic power. It was a double cultivation ability. Boom, boom, boom. The power of the perishable finger exploded and instantly broke through the Lord of True Spirit's halo. The netherworld finger went straight for the Lord of True Spirit and pierced through his shoulder. You, the Lord of True Spirit, was furious. As an overlord, he had fallen into such a predicament. You don't have much time. Yi Chen did not give him any chance to breathe. Damn it. Here. The Lord of True Spirit had no other choice. If this continued, he would die without a doubt. Only by cooperating with Yi Chen could he survive. He tossed the dark energy crystal. Yi Chen closed his fingers, and the dark energy crystal fell into his hand. Very good. After putting away the dark energy crystal, Yi Chen looked at the darkness pool. He did not want to save the Lord of True Spirit, but he could not rely on his own strength to fight against the emperors of the underworld. He needed the Lord of True Spirit to share the burden. Also, the space-time wrath was very excited about the dark matter. He wanted to find a reason. Ninth Heaven Thunder Palm. Yi Chen drew the divine thunder of heavenly tribulation and condensed it in his palm. He struck at the darkness pool. Chapter 1974. Rumble. The rolling thunder palm reached the origin of darkness. The violent tremors triggered the waves like a furious dragon roaring into the sky. Such a huge tremor naturally attracted the attention of Hell Emperor and Yu Wang, who were outside the lake. It seems like the True Spirit Lord is fighting a hard battle below. Hell Emperor revealed a mocking smile. He thought that this was caused by the True Spirit Lord, but in reality, it was caused by Yi Chen. Even itinerant immortals can't escape from the origin of darkness. The True Spirit Lord will die this time. Using the core of the 3 realms to eradicate a great calamity for the underworld is quite suitable. Yu Wang said, "Why aren't you bowing your heads and accepting your death?" Hell Emperor looked at Yi Wushuang and the Patriarch of Hell. Let's see if you have the ability to do so. The Patriarch of Hell sneered. The underworld sword in his hand released underworld chi that rushed toward Hell Emperor like a flowing wind. Useless move. Hell Emperor shouted angrily as the Emperor's ruler appeared in his hand. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Waving the ruler, waves of Emperor's chi turned into the form of hellhounds and attacked the Patriarch of Hell. Patriarch, watch out. Yi Wushuang attacked at the same time. The Heavenly Emperor sword chi cut in front of him. Rumble. The Heavenly Emperor's sword cut the Emperor's chi and protected the Patriarch. Oh, his Emperor's chi was cut in the hands of a brat. Hell Emperor revealed a surprised expression. Yi Wushuang, I didn't expect you to improve so much. Hell Emperor, Master will come out soon. Wait for your death. You really don't know your place. Hearing Yi Wushuang's domineering words, Hell Emperor laughed wildly. There was no trace of Yi Chen around. Even if he was scared underwater, he would die with the true Spirit Lord. Why worry? Therefore, as long as he dealt with the Patriarch of Hell and Yi Wu Shuang, the people of the spirit realm would be annihilated. Under the lake, Yi Chun forcefully attacked the origin of darkness with the rolling thunder palm. Unexpectedly, the palm energy was like a clay ox entering the sea. It was useless. It can absorb energy. Yi Chun finally understood that the origin of darkness before him possessed a devouring ability similar to the space-time wrath. Moreover, this power had undergone some sort of evolution. This was the reason why the space-time wrath was so obsessed with it. If he could obtain the power of the source of darkness, the space-time rage centipede would definitely undergo a second evolution. Thinking of this, Yi Chun had a goal. This time, not only did he have to obtain the nether chi crystal to help the true Spirit Lord out of danger, but he also had to obtain the power of the origin of darkness so that the space-time Fury Dragon could evolve a second time. Yi Chun was very interested in the second evolution of the space-time wrath. Although it was not heavily injured, Yi Chun's palm strike had angered the origin of darkness. Hoo. Dozens of dark matter swarmed toward Yi Chun. Each of them had the ability to engulf a powerhouse at the peak of the tribulation stage. Yi Chun, now it's your turn to be in trouble. After being saved, the true Spirit Lord did not show any gratitude and even mocked Yi Chun. True Spirit Lord, watch your mouth. What did you say? Are you deaf? Yi Chun glared at the true Spirit Lord, not giving him any face at all. The true Spirit Lord was furious. After all, he was the master of the true Spirit Hall and the ruler of the spirit realm. One could imagine how he felt when Yi Chun mocked him. However, that could not erase the fact that Yi Chun had saved him. The true Spirit Lord struck Yi Chun with his palm, and then flew toward the world outside the lake. Trash! Yi Chun's eyes emitted a fiery glow, instantly breaking the true Spirit Lord's palm strike. Hoo. At this moment, more dark matter swarmed toward Yi Chun. Clearly, the origin of darkness had lost interest in the true Spirit Lord and had locked onto Yi Chun again. Very well, come on. Yi Chun's sword energy spread out for 3,000 miles, fighting wildly in all directions. Boom. Where the sword energy pointed, the raging sea churned. The entire lake was stirred up by Yi Chun, turning the sky and earth upside down. Huge waves rose to the sky, and the origin of darkness unleashed supreme might, engulfing everything. Hoo. The surrounding lake water was engulfed by the origin of darkness and turned into countless bubbles, surrounding Yi Chun. At this time, the Hell Emperor and the others looked at the lake water. Yi Chun and the origin of darkness were exposed. Yi Chun is not dead. The Hell Emperor and Yuang both revealed shocked expressions. Not only Yi Chun, but even the true Spirit Lord flew out. Could it be that the two of them joined forces to fight against the origin of darkness? The two of them revealed looks of confusion. From their point of view, even if Yi Chun and the true Spirit Lord joined forces, they would not be a match for the origin of darkness. Hoo. The power of the origin of darkness finally erupted, engulfing everything. Feeling this terrifying might, everyone fell into a state of shock. It seems that the origin of darkness didn't unleash its full power before. This might have something to do with Yi Chun. The Hell Emperor said, "That's right, this brat is too abnormal. Every time we meet him, there's a big problem. I think he saved the true Spirit Lord," Yu Huang said. Hearing Yu Huang's words, the true Spirit Lord was even more furious. He did not expect that there would be people who believed that Yi Chun saved him. In this case, he had no place to put his face. The true Spirit tribe invaded the underworld. Damn it! The Hell Emperor no longer cared about the Patriarch and Yi Wu Shuang. Instead, he turned to face the true Spirit Lord. After all, among the people in the spiritual realm, the true Spirit Lord was the greatest threat. Trash like you think you're qualified to talk to me. Even in the face of the Hell Emperor and Yu Huang, the Lord of True Spirit still maintained his majesty. This is the underworld, not your spirit realm. Lord of True Spirit, Your doomsday is here. We're just holding you back. Once the Archemperor arrives, you'll all die. The Archemperor's eyes caused the Lord of True Spirit's heart to tremble. He had heard of the Archemperor, one of the upper 9 sovereigns of the 18 sovereigns, and was far more powerful than the Hell Emperor and Yuan. You two can die first. The Lord of True Spirit took the initiative to attack the Hell Emperor and Yuan. Meanwhile, in the world below, Yi Chun was facing the origin of darkness alone. Hoo. Having lost the lake water, the origin of darkness transformed into a mass of darkness energy that exploded with demonic might. Hiss. The dark matter that had been released earlier had all gathered around the source of darkness, forming a set of dark armor. The source of darkness now looked like a person, giving it a very dignified appearance. After that, the origin of darkness unleashed rays of darkness that shot toward Yi Chun. Hiss. Countless rays of darkness shot toward Yi Chun. Swoosh. Yi Chun used the 9 heavens, treading you steps, and the 7 stars flickered as he dodged the rays. Roar. At that moment, the space-time wrath roared and appeared behind Yi Chun. Since you're so obsessed with it, I'll help you fulfill your wish. With that, Yi Chun and the space-time wrath faced the origin of darkness together. The origin of darkness sensed the space-time wrath's power and went berserk. These two powers clearly could not coexist. End of chapter. Chapter 1975. Whoosh. Sensing the power of the space-time wrath, the origin of darkness began to spew out dark matter in a frenzy, as if it was afraid of the wrath's power and wanted to destroy it. I see. Sensing the fear of the origin of darkness, Yi Chun's eyes turned cold, and he flew up to the sky. Space-time wrath, unleash it. Yi Chun unleashed the might of space-time wrath, and the huge figure dashed toward the origin of darkness in a violent and terrifying manner. Dong. The space-time wrath power was gradually released, and the surrounding space rapidly changed. The dark matter that attacked the wrath was all trapped in the alternate space opened by the wrath, unable to stop it at all. Very well, go. Yi Chun held the Heavenly Emperor's sword and attacked the origin of darkness at the same time. Whoosh. The origin of darkness felt a great threat, and the huge mass of dark chi began to take form. Swoosh. The origin of darkness turned into a human and grew 2 horns. Its entire body was black and covered in scales, revealing an evil and devouring force of nature. Roar. Seeing that the origin of darkness had turned into a human, the space-time wrath charged again to devour the dark core. Lowly human die. The origin of darkness spoke in human language, and its frenzied state was like a demon descending. Its ferocity was unstoppable. Facing such a dark and evil power, Yi Chun had to end the battle quickly without hesitation. Ancient God might. Yi Chun shouted angrily as golden light bloomed from his body. The ancient god power flowed through his meridians, and he turned into a 1,000-foot giant. Panga Godhead, golden body grew. Darkness immortal method, rip barrier. Suddenly, the origin of darkness released the darkness immortal method, and an unknown dark force appeared in the surrounding space. Boom. Yi Chun felt his body shaking continuously. His huge body was about to explode and tear apart. This power was very strange and almost impossible to resist. If not for the ancient god body being too tough, even a peak Mahayana stage cultivator would have exploded instantly. Such a violent power. Interesting. This power completely attracted Yi Chun's interest. If he could use it, then his space law would soar to a new level. Unparalleled ancient god. Yi Chun's eyes emitted flames as he activated the second stage of 1-star Ancient God. Instantly, his body stopped shaking. His indestructible muscles spread open as he constructed the Ancient God space. Z. With the successful construction of the Ancient God space, the origin of darkness was completely sealed within the space. What? The source of darkness could feel the powerful binding energy of the ancient god space. This energy was making him lose his freedom. Damn it! With a furious roar, the scales all over the source of darkness body stood on end. Darkness, immortal art, extermination. Reversing the tearing force from before, the origin of darkness once again unleashed the absolute annihilation celestial art. ZZZ. An inexplicable black hole appeared above the origin of darkness. The power of the black hole distorted time and space, constantly distorting everything. Roar. Even Fury, who controlled the power of space-time, couldn't resist the power of the black hole and kept falling towards it. Space-time rage. Yi Chen's expression changed as he flew toward the black hole. Ha ha ha, idiot. You'll definitely die once you enter the black hole. Yi Chen did not hesitate in the face of the origin of darkness mockery. Space-time wrath was the foundation of his space-time law. Once the wrath was destroyed, his space-time law would also be destroyed. This was something Yi Chen could not accept. So. Under the influence of the black hole's gravity, Yi Chen moved faster and faster like a shooting star. Finally, Yi Chen caught hold of Fury. Come back. Yi Chen released his divine telekinesis and merged it with Fury's consciousness. Instantly, space-time wrath returned to Yi Chen's body. With a long roar, Yi Chen used the ancient god power to forcibly reverse the power of the black hole. However, in front of this black hole, even the ancient god power became extremely fragile. After all, Yi Chen was only using the power of a one-star ancient god. Haha, go to hell. The origin of darkness was also fascinated by Yi Chen. He could already feel the endless divine power in Yi Chen's body. This power was what he needed the most to ascend as a human. Restrain. The source of darkness once again erupted with the strongest power of darkness. The power of the black hole continued to increase. Such violent power caused Yi Chen's huge body to fall continuously. The people who were still fighting were dumbfounded when they saw this scene. They stopped fighting and looked down at the battle between Yi Chen and the origin of darkness. The strength of the origin of darkness was obviously at the itinerant immortal level. It even had a special characteristic that it could constantly increase its strength in battle, according to the opponent's strength. Against Yi Chen, the origin of darkness's strength had reached the itinerant immortal level. This meant that Yi Chen's strength was comparable to an itinerant immortal. This terrifying fact was already recognized by Emperor Yama and Emperor Yuan. This kid has the strength of an itinerant immortal. How is this possible? Emperor Yama shouted in shock. What did you say? At this time, Lord True Soul was also shocked. He looked in the direction of Emperor Yama and Emperor Yuan. The two great emperors were shocked at the same time. It was obvious that Emperor Yama's words were not false. This kid, Lord True Soul's eyebrows trembled. Although he knew that Yi Chen's talent was outstanding among the human race and might even be a genius in 100 years, now it seemed that Yi Chen was a one-in-a-million genius because no one could display the strength of an itinerant immortal when they were at the tribulation stage. This was a scene that could only be seen in legends. Ha ha, kid, you made me more interested. The origin of darkness's energy was still increasing because Yi Chen's energy level was increasing. Kill. The origin of darkness stretched out his hand. His arm kept extending and then became incomparably huge, waving at Yi Chen. Looking at the huge arm that was even comparable to an ancient god's body, Yi Chen was also shocked. However, no matter what he faced, he would not panic. He shouted angrily and directly clasped the arm with both his arms. Clang! The two great oddities had begun to compete head-on here. This was a competition of inner energy. The origin of darkness's strength was constantly increasing, but Yi Chen would not fall behind. The speed at which the two's energy levels soared was too fast, causing the surrounding space to change. Boom, boom, boom. The space began to automatically explode. This kind of terrifying power had long surpassed everyone's imagination. Even a super powerhouse among itinerant immortals like Lord True Soul felt this kind of fear. Impossible! There is no power that can shake my spiritual barrier. Lord True Soul felt that his mind world was still shocked. End of this chapter. Chapter 1976. As the leader of the True Spirit Hall, a super powerhouse of the spirit realm, Lord True Soul could sense that his consciousness had been shaken by the clash of forces. He had never felt this before. As an itinerant immortal, he had seen other powerful itinerant immortals, but he had never felt this way. Yi Chun, a mere tribulation stage cultivator, could fight the profundity of darkness to this extent. Lord True Soul could not understand. Everyone at the scene was shocked. Even the Patriarch of Hell, a powerhouse who had been following Yi Chun, did not expect Yi Chun's ability to be so powerful. Ha ha! Fellow Taoist Yi, you've hidden your strength well. I'm impressed. The Patriarch laughed, but Yama Sovereign, Yu Wang, and the others were shocked. They had seen how strong Yi Chun was, and now they could only rely on the power of the profundity of darkness to kill him. But at the same time, the profundity of darkness was a big problem. Now that Yi Chun had helped him take human form, if he succeeded in absorbing Yi Chun's power, they could not just let him go. Why hasn't the Archemperor arrived yet? We can't control the situation. Yama Sovereign said grimly. That's right. Between Yi Chun and the profundity of darkness, no matter who wins this battle, it will be fatal to us. Damn it. Yuan was also terrified. At this moment, the battle between Yi Chun and the profundity of darkness was still going on. The two of them seemed to have no limits. Boom, boom, boom. The space around them trembled even more violently. No one could escape from this spatial restriction. Leave! Finally, Yama, Sovereign roared, and the people of the underworld retreated. Yi Chun, please die here. Lord True Soul struck out with his palm toward Yi Chun. Ha ha! Yi Chun's tyrannical laughter rang out as the ancient god light radiated from his body. The True Spirit Lord's palm strike landed on Yi Chun's body like a clay ox entering the sea, completely useless. Lord True Soul flew up into the sky in shock. Patriarch, Wu Shuang, leave now. How can we leave you alone? Leave now. They could not help here, and might even become a means for the profundity of darkness to restrain him. Yi Chun did not want them to be hurt. The profundity of darkness was the strongest and strangest opponent he had ever encountered. Alright. Old Ancestor and Wu Shuang could only fly away. Finally, in the deepest part of the Emperor of Hell mountain range, only Yi Chun and the Origin of Darkness were left. What's the point of sending them away? After I kill you, I'll kill them immediately. Origin of Darkness, you want to devour me, but I also want to devour you. What did you say? Fight! Yi Chun did not waste any more words. The might of an ancient god erupted from his entire body. The might of his arms was as strong as Mount Tai. Kacha! The Origin of Darkness widened its eyes as it watched its gigantic arm of darkness being broken by Yi Chun's ancient god power. Damn it! The source of darkness was infuriated that its giant arm had been forcefully twisted off. Its giant arm actually regenerated in an instant, becoming even more powerful. Yi Chun, it's impossible for you to defeat me because my ability is to devour and copy your ability. In other words, the stronger you become, the stronger I will become. It will never stop until the moment you die. The Origin of Darkness's face was filled with excitement. Its eyes and expression were strange and terrifying. I really hope that you become stronger. I even hope that you can fight for as long as possible. I can slowly torture you and then obtain the power from your body to continuously evolve. This feeling is too wonderful. Looking at the frenzied Origin of Darkness before him, Yi Chun's expression was incomparably cold. His entire body exuded the majesty of an ancient god. In front of my majesty, no matter what you are, you must bow your head. Yi Chun's eyes once again emitted the ancient god light. His huge body grew once again, and his power was even greater than before. It just so happened that the characteristic of Panga Godhead was creation, limitless. Kill! The Origin of Darkness swung its giant arm and once again rushed toward Yi Chun. Rumble! The huge tremors caused the surrounding mountains to collapse. Amidst the flying dust and cracked rocks, the ancient god stood alone. Yi Chun blocked his opponent's attack with one hand. Oh, how wonderful! You've become even more powerful. The origin of darkness let out a strange laugh. Its excitement could not be concealed. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Following that, the origin of darkness absorbed the ancient god power in the air and began to evolve rapidly. Clang! This time, the giant arm made Yi Chun take half a step into the ground. This time, Yi Chun truly understood the horror of the origin of darkness. It seemed that the opponent before him was no longer the origin of darkness, but himself. Very good, ha ha ha. Yi Chun also went crazy. He withdrew his heavenly emperor aura and completely transformed into a god. Kill! Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Although Yi Chun's body was incomparably huge, his speed was not slow at all. It was precisely because the ancient god power was too powerful that it could completely support this huge body at high speed. Boom, boom, boom. Without using any divine abilities or secret techniques, Yi Chun waved the ancient god fist and continuously bombarded the origin of darkness. Clang, clang, clang. The corner of the origin of darkness's mouth curled up slightly. Above its body, another giant arm grew. It blocked in front of its body, and all of Yi Chun's attacks were blocked by this arm. I'm completely used to this level of attack. Let me do it. The origin of darkness's eyes released extremely sharp rays of darkness. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Wherever the dark rays went, the mountains instantly shattered. The incomparably hard rocks of the Emperor of Hell Mountain were like tofu, unable to withstand a single blow. At this moment, Yi Chun made a shocking move. He used his arm to block the dark rays. Hiss, hiss, hiss. The dark rays pierced through Yi Chun's arm and blood flowed out. Ha ha, what an idiot. How dare you use your body to block my dark rays? You're asking for it. Is that so? Yi Chun punched the ground with both arms and then stood up again. The origin of darkness felt that something was wrong. Yi Chun's lips curled into a cold smile. Following that, the parts of his body that were pierced by the dark rays grew again, and the wounds quickly healed. How is this possible? The origin of darkness revealed a look of shock. Did Yi Chun also have a super strong healing ability like it? Evil can never defeat good, and demons can never defeat gods. Yi Chun was using the opponent before him to constantly break through himself. This was because the origin of darkness grew stronger as the opponent grew stronger. Such a cultivation opponent could be said to be rare. Oh, their eyes met. For the first time, these two super anomalies revealed a serious expression. Yi Chun, you're the most extraordinary person I've ever met. You're also the person I'm most looking forward to meeting. The same goes for you. Chapter 1977. Yi Chun's battle with the origin of darkness had brought both their strengths to the peak. Moreover, their characteristics were limitless. Kill! With a roar, Yi Chun's figure moved. The immortal demonic power in his body mixed together. At the same time, he activated the space-time dragon to open a path to the alternate space, looking for an opportunity. Ha! Your body contains the power of the dragon. That's what I want. As expected, the origin of darkness also wanted Yi Chun's power, because his rule was compatible with the space-time dragon. Dream on. Yi Chun wielded the Heavenly Emperor sword. As his figure flew, he slashed with his sword. Unparalleled power erupted like a crack between heaven and earth. No one could stop it. Rumble! The huge sword mark slashed toward the origin of darkness. Thunder from a clear sky. Darkness immortal method, engulf. The origin of darkness sneered. Waves of ink-colored energy emanated from its body. This energy condensed into a large hand and grabbed Yi Chun's sword mark. Clang! The sword mark was blocked and was in a stalemate with the large hand. Soon, Yi Chun felt the power of his sword mark being absorbed and engulfed by the large hand. Yi Chun, your power can't hurt me. Instead, it will become my nourishment. How can you defeat me? Ha! Kill! Yi Chun did not say anything else. The sword in his hand rippled like a raging wave. There was no space between heaven and earth. Boom, boom, boom. The sword energy exploded, not giving the origin of darkness a chance to engulf it. Ha! Useless. The origin of darkness's figure instantly appeared. Countless figures of the origin of darkness appeared in the void. It was impossible to tell which one was the real one. Kill. Yi Chun activated the golden pupil flame, trying to distinguish the real from the fake. However, there was only chaos in his fiery vision. He could not see anything clearly. Yi Chun increased his ancient god power again. He wanted to break through the technique with force. Rumble. The blade carrying the power of the immortal demonic power slashed down. It was like a rainbow between heaven and earth, magnificent and dangerous. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Countless figures of the origin of darkness pounced toward the huge blade at the same time. Although the figures of the origin of darkness shattered and turned into nothingness, as their numbers increased, Yi Chen's sword was greatly hindered and could not harm the true body of the origin of darkness. Ancient God Space. Yi Chen's entire body emitted a similar light. These light shadows turned into strange patterns, which were the manifestation of the ancient god's natural order. So what if you have comprehended the power of rules? In my world, you will eventually fall. Then let's see who can stand till the end. In the face of the threat of the origin of darkness, Yi Chen showed no fear. In this world, only Yi Chen stood alone. This was the light that belonged to a heavenly emperor. Kill! With a loud bang, the sword carried the power of an ancient god and instantly pierced through all obstacles. Kacha, kacha, kacha! The clones of the origin of darkness were unable to resist the ancient god's sword and shattered on the spot. As the clones were all destroyed by Yi Chen, the origin of darkness body continued to expand, and 3 heads and 6 arms appeared on its body. Ha ha ha! With a sinister laugh, the river source's power continued to increase. Kill! Looking at the arms that stretched out from the back of the origin of darkness, Yi Chen was enraged. Wherever the sword pointed, the demon would not be spared. Swish, swish, swish! The origin of darkness arms were continuously destroyed by Yi Chen, but soon, new arms grew on its body. It was not affected at all. Looking at such a powerful regenerative ability, Yi Chen was also shocked. He knew that unless he destroyed the energy core of the origin of darkness, he would not be able to defeat the monster before him. Yi Chen, no matter how many tricks you have, they will all become mine. No matter how powerful your supernatural powers are, they will all become my new strength. Kill. After many taunts, the origin of darkness only received one word in response: kill. Swish, swish, swish. Yi Chen's body split into 2, and the twin avatar created by the ancient god body appeared at the same time. Swish, swish, swish. The twin avatar leaped and flickered, drawing various arcs in the void. This way, the origin of darkness would have to face 2 Yi Chen at the same time. The situation was reversed. Unparalleled ancient god vanquishing palm. The main attacker was Yi Chen in his ancient god form, facing the origin of darkness. Rumble. A palm print as large as the sky descended like a pillar that supported the heavens, suppressing the origin of darkness. So what? The origin of darkness sneered in the face of such a large palm print. Following that, its various arms gathered together and condensed into a huge palm print. It was extremely similar to Yi Chen's palm print. Other than the difference in the energy contained, ordinary people could not even see the difference in the power of the natural order. Rumble. The huge palm prints of both sides collided. In an instant, the entire sky began to shatter. Such a powerful tremor caused the surrounding space to change. The many combatants watching the battle from the outside deeply felt the suppression of this power. This was an irresistible physical and mental suppression. It's too powerful. Is he still human? I understand that the origin of darkness is not human, but Yi Chen is only a tribulation stage cultivator. How can he fight against such a powerful origin of darkness? This is unbelievable, isn't it? He's a monster. Many combatants, whether they were from the underworld or the spirit realm, thought that Yi Chen was a monster. He was an ancient genius. On the battlefield, Yi Chen's huge palm print activated the strongest form of the ancient god power and finally suppressed the origin of darkness. Impossible. Feeling its power being suppressed, the origin of darkness roared in disbelief. Its current strength had surpassed ordinary itinerant immortals. No one could fight against it. Yi Chen, what did you do? In front of gods, you are also nothingness. Yi Chen's response completely enraged the origin of darkness. It was the condensation of darkness force and had developed a dark consciousness. Nothingness was what it feared the most. Once it lost the meaning of existence, what was darkness? Seeing that the origin of darkness power was rapidly shaking and becoming unstable, Yi Chen was delighted. He knew that he had found the origin of darkness weakness. You are afraid of nothingness. You are constantly imitating, trying to keep up with the pace of the world. You want to create a world that belongs to you. However, before the heavens, you are also an existence that will be controlled. All of your extravagant hopes will end. No, impossible. Facing Yi Chen, who had seen through everything, the origin of darkness made a final struggle. It wanted to become the overlord of the universe. It wanted to devour everything. End of darkness, fall. Ancient God, descend. Facing the origin of darkness' ultimate killing move, Yi Chen did not hold back. He released the ancient God's strongest power, descend. Chapter 1978. The ancient God had descended, drawing upon the might of the ancient God. The surrounding space was under the control of the ancient God power. This space belonged to Yi Chen. Yi Chen's ancient God form glowed with the mark of a one-star ancient God. There was a roar of shock. This was the ultimate rage of the ancient God. Everything became quiet and still. Everything was destroyed by the might of the ancient God. No, impossible. In the face of the ancient God's might, in the face of Yi Chen's ultimate power, even the pool of darkness had to bow its head. You've surpassed the limit. So what? I've never had a limit. You bow your head. Yi Chen took the opportunity to unleash the space-time rage. Roar. The space-time rage attacked the moment the pool of darkness was suppressed by the ancient God. It created a spatial gate and devoured the pool of darkness. Hiss, hiss, hiss. As the power of the pool of darkness was devoured by the space-time rage, the surroundings gradually calmed down. Yi Chen was in control of everything. He was the emperor. After devouring the pool of darkness, the space-time rage began a new round of evolution. Roar. The surrounding space continued to evolve along with the roar. Time and space became extremely unstable. No one could survive in a space like this. The surrounding combatants retreated. Even the Hell Monarch, Lord True Soul, and the others did not dare to stay. In this chaotic flow of space-time, there was only one person who could stand alone. Yi Chen. The peerless ancient God's roar devoured the world. At this moment, everything entered Yi Chen's world. Creation and destruction had lost all meaning. Who can tell me what's going on? At that moment, many experts were shocked. The changes in this world were simply too shocking. The Hell Monarch, as one of the 18 emperors of the underworld, could not hide his shock and confusion. He could not understand how someone could defeat the pool of darkness and even devour it. Yi Chen is not someone we can speculate about. We've failed, Yuang said. Damn it, the Hell Monarch roared. He had thought that Yi Chen would die at the hands of the pool of darkness. Then he and Yuang would hold down Lord True Soul and wait for the Arch-Emperor to arrive. However, everything was uncertain now. Yi Chen relied on his tribulation stage cultivation base to devour the origin of darkness and achieve the body of an ancient god. And the Lord of True Spirit was still eyeing him like a tiger watching its prey. This situation had completely exceeded his expectations. So how could he remain calm? Hell Monarch, your plan has failed. You wanted to rely on the darkness pool to kill me and Yi Chen, but now the darkness pool has been absorbed by Yi Chen, and I, the Spirit Master, has charged out of the underground abyss. You're done for. Seeing that the origin of darkness was destroyed by Yi Chen, the power he feared the most had vanished. In that case, the True Spirit Lord didn't even place the Hell Sovereign and Yuang before him in his eyes. Kill! Hell Sovereign was enraged and went straight for the Lord of True Spirit. Useless move. Feeling Hell's killer move, the Lord of True Spirit sneered, and a long sword appeared in his hand. It was the True Spirit Sword. This sword was a supreme spiritual treasure, a super divine weapon left by the creator of the True Spirit Palace. Whoosh! At the instant the sword light flashed, the Hell Emperor and Yuang instantly felt their bodies being suppressed by the True Spirit swords. How is this possible? The two of them were badly shocked. After all, this was the Netherworld, their home ground. In such an environment, divine weapons shouldn't be able to suppress them. However, the True Spirit swords in the hands of the Lord of True Spirit actually managed to do so. Slash! The Lord of True Spirit took the initiative and slashed out with his sword. The dense spirit energy transformed into a perfect arc, like a rainbow arcing through the sky. Boom, boom, boom. As the sword slashed out, the heavens and earth trembled. At this moment, the Hell Emperor and Yuang felt the space around them exploding. This surge of energy seemed to be able to tear their bodies apart, causing them to feel a deep sense of fear. Evade! The two of them soared up into the sky, but they didn't face the sword chi of the True Spirit swords head-on. Boom, boom, boom. They had sufficient strength to evade, but the cultivators of the Netherworld couldn't. Facing such a ferocious True Spirit sword chi, they had no way to evade. They could only resist it. However, in the process of resisting, they understood that the difference between them and the sword chi was as vast as the heavens and earth. As the sounds of explosions rang out, the bodies of those cultivators exploded. When the other cultivators saw this, their hearts trembled and their bodies trembled. The people from the spirit world are too powerful. Yi Chun and the Lord of True Spirit are both madmen. We're not a match for them at all. Let's go. Many of the Netherworld experts didn't dare to fight the Lord of True Spirit. Instead, they fled toward the Hell Emperor mountain range. Ha ha ha. The Lord of True Spirit's maniacal laughter rang out, as if he were mocking the entire Netherworld. Damn it. Just as everyone was about to escape, a loud rumble came from the sky and lightning struck down. The cultivators who were trying to escape were turned to dust on the spot by the lightning. They didn't even have time to scream before they were killed by the divine ability. Rumble. A moment later, the sound of thunder could be heard as a figure descended from the sky. It was none other than one of the 9 emperors of the Netherworld, the Arch-Emperor. It's the Arch-Emperor. Wonderful. Ha! The Arch-Emperor has arrived. Prepare to die. The Hell Emperor and Yuang both had very pleased expressions on their faces. It seemed that everything was over. As long as the Arch-Emperor was here, the Netherworld would definitely win. The Lord of True Spirit looked up at the newcomer, and his heart trembled. He could sense a domineering aura that didn't exist on the Hell Emperor or the Yuang Emperor. It was an aura that could strike fear into the hearts of body integration experts, and even the Lord of True Spirit was affected. Who are you? The Lord of True Spirit asked. The Arch-Emperor of the Netherworld. The Arch-Emperor descended to face off against the Lord of True Spirit. The Arch-Emperor? Ha ha ha. One of the 9 emperors of the Netherworld, the Arch-Emperor, Lord of True Spirit. It was unwise of you to come to the Netherworld to die. Now that I'm here, I'm going to uproot your Netherworld. How impudent! The Arch-Emperor roared. Waving his hand, he sent an enormous devilish claw of darkness out toward the Lord of True Spirit. You dare to show off your insignificant skills? The Lord of True Spirit held the True Spirit sword in his hand, looking like the Lord of all heaven and earth. It didn't matter who he faced, he didn't show the slightest bit of fear. The Arch-Emperor of the Netherworld was one of the 9 emperors, and his cultivation base didn't need to be mentioned. He was even more skilled in divine abilities and secret magics. Infernal Sacrifice, Arch-Emperor's command. The Arch-Emperor's command caused the air around him to tremble. In front of everyone's eyes, countless dark green auras filled the air and surrounded the Lord of True Spirit. Oh! The Lord of True Spirit gasped, and could tell that the green auras contained extremely corrosive toxins. True Spirit World. End of chapter. Chapter 1979. The Lord of Real Spirit had released the realm of Real Spirit to resist the token of the Underworld Emperor, but he had underestimated the influence of the environment of the Underworld on his strength. Chi, chi, chi. Soon, on the border of the true spirit world, countless dark green auras began to corrode. The speed of the corrosion was extremely fast, and the power of the true spirit world rapidly decreased until it melted. This, Lord True Spirit's heart trembled. Never could he have imagined that the Arch-Emperor of the Underworld would be so powerful. True Spirit Lord, entering the Netherworld to cause trouble is your greatest mistake. Don't try to show off, Arch-Emperor. Die. The Lord of True Spirit was enraged, and once again waved his True Spirit sword, unleashing boundless, your wild power that shot toward the Arch-Emperor. Useless move. However, the Emperor of the Underworld was not surprised at all. He waved his sharp claws, and suddenly, the dark green aura in the surrounding space began to gather in his hand, turning into a huge green scepter, constantly releasing a terrifying aura. Bow before the scepter of the Arch-Emperor. The Arch-Emperor's scepter was a divine spirit treasure that the Arch-Emperor had spent 1,000 years working on. Go! Boom! The scepter flew up and hovered in the air. Then, it released a terrifying aura that surrounded True Spirit World. The entire True Spirit World and True Spirit Lord were locked down by the scepter. Damn it! The Lord of True Spirit was anxious. The experts he brought into the underworld had been eliminated, and he was the only one left. There was no one to help him restrain the people from the underworld. He had never imagined such a situation. As the Lord of True Soul and the Arch-Emperor fought, Yi Chun emerged from secluded meditation after devouring the darkness essence and creating Wraith Bear. Fellow Yi, the Patriarch heaved a sigh of relief when he saw Yi Chun. After all, the underworld boss had descended and they were already in danger. Not even the Lord of True Spirit had been able to kill the Arch-Emperor, and had even been trapped in his aegis. As such, the Patriarch had to admit that he was no match for the ultimate experts of the underworld. However, Yi Chun's arrival brought him hope. Yi Chun's aura was incomparably powerful. This was the result of absorbing the origin of darkness and mastering the God-Fiend power, as well as the evolution of space-time laws. Roar! His rage towered up into the sky, unleashing the might of a heaven Empyrean. Yi Chun came to the old ancestor's side, facing the Hell, Sovereign, and Yuan. Yi Chun, you've defeated the origin of darkness. The Hell Emperor sensed Yi Chun's aura and knew that he had indeed defeated the origin of darkness, and even absorbed its power. Now, his foundation was unfathomable. Hell Monarch, tell me where Yuan is right now, and I'll spare your life. Ha! You want to know the whereabouts of the Netherlord? Dream on. Hearing this, Yi Chun's cold eyes locked onto the Hell Emperor. His murderous aura soared into the sky, and his murderous intent shook the 9 heavens. Die! Yi Chun flew out and went straight for the Hell Emperor. Now that things had come to this, the Hell Emperor knew that he couldn't hold back anymore. Hell Emperor's blood sacrifice, judgment of life and death. Chi chi chi. A terrifying scene appeared. Hell Sovereign's entire body was bleeding profusely. His blood surged towards the sky unceasingly, transforming into a giant blood man. This was Hell Sovereign's true form. Ha ha ha! Yi Chun, even if you absorb the power of the origin of darkness, you're still no match for me. This time, I'll take you down with me. The Hell Emperor was determined to die. He wanted to drag Yi Chun down with him to prevent him from finding the Netherlord. Ridiculous. Yi Chun smirked as he faced the Hell Emperor's true form. The Heavenly Emperor, sword gleam, reappeared in his hand. Today, I shall slay you, Hell Monarch. Whoosh! The Heavenly Emperor's sword appeared, and the sword gleam filled the 9 levels of the starry sky. At this moment, Yi Chun seemed to have transformed into the Heavenly Emperor, controlling everything. Hell Emperor's judgment of life and death die. The blood-colored Hell Emperor held a blood-colored book in his hand. It was the Hell Emperor's book of life and death. Hiss, hiss, hiss. The Hell Emperor wrote Yi Chun's name on it with his bloody finger. Instantly, countless amounts of blood surged toward Yi Chun's body like an unstoppable tide. Yichen stood in the void and did not move when he saw this scene. Ha ha ha, you're courting death. The Hell Emperor was overjoyed. This was exactly what he wanted to see. He knew that Yi Chun had always been arrogant. Facing such power, he would not dodge. In that case, let him sink into this sea of blood. Chi chi chi. They almost turned into sharp arrows that shot toward Yi Chun. Clang, clang, clang. Yi Chun's sword gleam flashed and instantly deflected dozens of sharp arrows. It's useless. You're still going to die. The Hell Emperor guided his blood and kept attacking Yi Chun. In an instant, the entire sky turned blood red. Countless drops of blood rained down from the sky. This was the most terrifying Hell Emperor's judgment of life and death. This was the judge of life. Hell Emperor. Yuang turned pale with fright. She had never imagined that the Hell Emperor would go this far, just to kill Yi Chun. Don't get close, the Hell Emperor warned. AI. Yuang knew how powerful the judgment of life and death was, and didn't dare to get close. Yi Chun's eyes locked onto the blood-colored Hell Emperor. He knew how terrifying his opponent was, because this was a life-risking divine ability. Unfortunately, you've underestimated my current strength. Yi Chun showed no fear in the face of the Hell Emperor's judgment of life and death. In fact, he was even disdainful. Countless powerful experts from the underworld were completely shaken. They had followed the Arch-Emperor here to kill the Lord of True Spirit, but now that Yi Chun was acting so arrogantly, and had even forced the Hell King to use a life-risking divine ability, there was no way they were going to miss it. This brat is too arrogant. He must die. The Hell Emperor's life-risking divine ability uses his own blood to create the Hell Emperor's true form, the blood-colored Hell Emperor. No one can escape from the judgment of life and death. There's no way Yi Chun can survive this move. No matter how arrogant he is, it's useless. Countless experts could already see Yi Chun dying in agony. Once Yi Chun died, the pool of darkness would return, and the core of the three realms would be safe. This was the Arch-Emperor's plan. The Arch-Emperor would tie down the Lord of True Soul while the others killed Yi Chun. Yi Chun had a close relationship with the Lord of the Underworld, and the 18 Underworld Emperors had long since been dissatisfied with him. Yuang, help the Hell Emperor. Don't let anything happen to him. Yes, Yuang responded, unleashing her hellish power to interfere with Yi Chun's judgment. Let's attack together. In the face of the two emperors' killing moves, Yi Chun roared angrily and soared into the sky. 9 heavens, lightning palm. Yi Chun unleashed tribulation lightning, unleashing 1,000 palm strikes. Boom, boom. Boundless energy blasted out, causing the surrounding area to be plunged into a state of endless destruction. The underworld experts were completely stunned. This brat is so powerful. It was at this point that they realized that Yi Chun was using tribulation lightning. Wasn't it supposed to be a power that only the heavenly Tao could use? How could a human use it? Their suspicions about Yi Chun caused them to be at a loss for what to do. Meanwhile, Yi Chun held the Heavenly Emperor's sword in his hand, and the image of the Heavenly Emperor appeared behind him. Slash! He didn't need any divine abilities, just the power of tribulation lightning to slay the Hell Emperor. Chapter 1980. Arg! With a scream, Bai Ming Huang fell from the sky. Her entire body was entangled by the lightning, causing her meridians to flow in reverse. Her body trembled, and she instantly lost the ability to fight. This attack seemed so simple, but the experts of the underworld couldn't understand it. Just a single sword strike not only broke Bai Ming Huang's divine ability, but also heavily injured her. How'd he do this? Isn't this brat too strong? Could it be that even the Hell Sovereign isn't a match for him? The Hell Sovereign used the ultimate blood sacrifice technique. It's impossible that he isn't a match for him, right? Although logic made them believe that the Hell Sovereign would definitely be able to kill Yi Chun, the mental shock caused the experts of the underworld to replay the scene of Bai Ming Huang being heavily injured. Just a simple slash could heavily injure Bai Ming Huang, one of the 18 emperors of the underworld. Such might had already broken through the heavens. Damn it! The Hell's sovereign was enraged. His blood-colored body continued to gather fresh blood as he rushed toward Yichen again. Rumble. This time, the huge blood pool Hell appeared. It was as if an entire ocean had descended from the sky. The heavy pressure made Yi Chun realize how powerful this attack was. Finally, the blood pool Hell hung above Yi Chen's head. After that, the countless amounts of fresh blood started to transform into various forms. Chi, chi, chi. From the blood pool, two huge blood-colored arms stretched out, grabbing toward Yi Chun. Yi Chun, receive your punishment for this trip to hell. A heavy voice rang out. The blood-colored arms turned into the head of a hellhound, wanting to devour Yi Chun. Insignificant tricks, and you dare bluff? Yi Chen's lips curled up as he pointed out with his sword finger. Rumble. Kacha, kacha, kacha. The head of the hellhound exploded, turning into a pool of blood. Such might shock the experts of the underworld once again. Their eyes were filled with fear when they looked at Yi Chun. Although Yi Chen's cultivation base was at the tribulation stage, in front of them, he was like an insurmountable mountain, an insurmountable ocean, a god that they couldn't look at directly. Their legs had already started to tremble. This wasn't because they wanted to tremble, but because Yi Chen's heavenly might was too strong. This kind of might was formless. Unknowingly, it had already infected their spiritual world, causing them to be unable to extricate themselves. In fact, even the Archemperor, who was facing off against the Lord of True Spirit, could sense an unusual pressure weighing down on him. It was an indescribable terror. Who exactly is Yi Chun? How could he have such an aura? According to the intelligence reports, Yi Chun was only a genius of the human race, and his cultivation base was only at the soul formation stage. Now that he had ascended and undergone his tribulation, it was already shocking enough. Not only that, he had heavily injured Yu Wang and even suppressed the Blood Hell Sovereign. All these were incomprehensible things. Do you see that, Archemperor? The humans aren't people you can bully as you please. This guy over there is strong enough to slaughter your emperor from the underworld. Do you really want to keep fighting? Although Lord True Soul didn't want to see Yi Chun grow so strong, his main enemy was the Archemperor of the underworld, and he wanted to see Yi Chun put a lot of pressure on him. True Spirit Lord, I know what you're thinking. The blood-colored Hell Emperor will definitely end Yi Chun. You'll also be waiting for death. Bastard. Lord True Spirit was enraged that the Archemperor was mocking him again. Waving his True Spirit sword, he unleashed a powerful burst of spiritual power. Come on. The two of them were once again entangled in battle. Meanwhile, the blood-red Hell Emperor controlled the bloody pool Hell, hoping to devour Yi Chun. Blood pool purgatory 3,000 li, sun and moon follow, 5 sunken perish. Chi, chi, chi. Suddenly, 5 blood-colored auras appeared in the air. These auras kept evolving and turned into 5 blood-colored giants that walked toward Yi Chun. You dare to be so arrogant in front of me when you're just scaring children? A strange gleam flickered in Yi Chen's eyes as the Time Fury appeared behind him. At this moment, the space-time Wrath Dragon had evolved to a new height. He had 2 horns on his head and was like a giant ape. His entire body was covered in golden patterns, and he looked unparalleled. Roar. With a roar, the space-time Wrath materialized and walked forward. Dong, dong, dong. Every step he took caused the ground to tremble, as if Mount Tai was pressing down on him. Chi, chi, chi. The space-time Wrath waved its sharp claws, instantly tearing through the entire space. At the same time, the 5 blood-colored giants that were charging toward them had only taken a few steps when they felt that something was wrong with their bodies. The blood-colored giants looked at their bodies and found that cracks had appeared on their chests. This was the spatial tear of the space-time Wrath. It looked like a small crack, but in reality, their bodies had been torn apart from the very core. Chi, chi, chi. Countless amounts of blood spurted out from those cracks. That terrifying scene even made many of the underworld powerhouses tremble. Following that, the blood-colored giants began to roar in pain. Then it became extremely difficult to even stabilize their bodies. B asterisk star, this is too despicable. The Hell Emperor roared angrily. He had exhausted his lifespan to use the ultimate divine ability. How would he fail here? Repair them. Disregarding his own life, the Hell Emperor once again released his blood and infused it into the bodies of the blood-colored giants. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Soon, under the infusion of the Hell Emperor's blood, the bodies of the blood-colored giants were forcefully restored. Ha ha, that's great. The blood-colored Hell Emperor is amazing. Now, Yi-Chin can't hurt those blood-colored giants anymore. He'll definitely be transferred to the blood pool purgatory. No matter what cultivation base he has, even a peak conjoint stage powerhouse will have to wait for death after being transferred to the blood pool purgatory, let alone a mere tribulation stage kid. As expected, in the underworld, challenging the authority of the Emperor is courting death. Seeing that the 5 blood-colored giants had automatically restored themselves, everyone regained their spirits again. They thought that the Hell Emperor would win, and Yi-Chan would just wait for death. Oh! Yi-Chan revealed a look of interest as he watched the 5 giants walk toward him. Ha! Yi-Chan is scared out of his wits. It's over this time. To them, Yi-Chan was trying to escape quickly, but he did not move. This was very abnormal. Therefore, they thought that Yi-Chan had fallen into the shock of the blood pool purgatory and could not extricate himself. Little did they know that it was the opposite. Yi-Chan did not need to run at all. Space-time wrath, it's up to you now. Yes, master. The Hell Emperor accepted the order and stood in front of Yi-Chan. Dong, dong, dong. The 5 blood-colored giants were like demons that demanded Yi-Chan's life. They kept walking toward Yi-Chan. Roar! Just as they were about to attack Yi-Chan, they roared and opened their bloody mouths. Although their mouths did not look that huge, with the support of the space law, they were as terrifying as a world. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Endless gales swept and the dark space opened, swallowing the 5 giants' figures. End of this chapter. Chapter 1981. Such violent might completely devoured the soul-reaping giant. Facing the blood pool hell, Yi-Chen's power seemed to be even stronger. Impossible, impossible. The Hell Emperor could not believe the truth before him. The blood pool hell was a supreme destructive technique that he had used all his life energy to create. This was the ultimate hell that could bury a conjoint body cultivator. However, Yi-Chen before him had destroyed all his hopes with just his tribulation stage cultivation base. How could he accept such a contrast? Ah, piss, piss, piss. With a furious roar, the Hell Emperor's figure dissipated, turning into a rain of blood that rushed into the blood pool hell. Hell Emperor! Yo Huang's face contorted as she shouted. This way, the Hell Emperor had completely lost his chance to recover. He was doomed. Ha ha ha! At this moment, in the blood pool hell, an incomparably huge blood figure appeared. It was the Hell Emperor's primordial spirit. Yi-Chan, today I'll drag you into the avatar hell even if I have to risk my life. Your dreams are great, but the reality is not as you wish. Hell Emperor, disappear. Yi-Chen's eyes shone with a sharp light as his murderous aura reached the peak. Let me use your power. The ultimate blood pool hell before him was created by the Hell Emperor using his life energy and primordial spirit. Its power was incomparably powerful. If he could absorb this power, it would be equivalent to Yi-Chan having another trump card. This was a good opportunity. Not only did he want to completely shatter the Hell Emperor's faith, but he also wanted to use the Hell Emperor's power. This was a real killing move. Dream on. The blood-colored Hell Emperor roared angrily. He waved his huge blood arm and swept it toward Yi-Chan. Slash! Facing the blood-colored Hell Emperor that was 100 times stronger than the blood-colored giant, Yi-Chen's eyes were slightly cold. There was no expression at all. At this moment, there was only destruction. Heavenly Emperor, order! Earth Sword counterattack. Pissed, pissed, pissed. The Heavenly Emperor's shadow appeared behind Yi-Chan. Yi-Chen's body was surrounded by starlight, as if he was the incarnation of heaven, majestic and unparalleled. The Heavenly Emperor's sword condensed in his hand, with the stars as the guide and the true fire as the source. One slash shook the universe, and one slash broke all techniques. Zong! As the sharp golden light slashed out mercilessly, the ground cracked and the earth energy surged. The Hell Emperor's arm was instantly cut off. Pust! Ah! With a blood-curdling scream, the huge arm of the blood-colored Hell Sovereign flew into the air and then crashed to the ground, stirring up a great deal of dust. Ah! The blood-colored Hell Emperor, which the Hell Emperor had transformed by expending his life force and primordial spirit, had strength comparable to a peak conjoint body cultivator. Yet, Yi Chun had severed one of his arms with a single strike. Such a shocking scene had completely frightened the underworld combatants. They did not know how powerful Yi Chun was and how many more shocking stories he could create, nor did they dare to think about it. At this moment, the entire audience was silent. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. The sound of blood dripping on the ground could be heard as the power of the blood pool continued to drain away. "I'll kill you." The blood-colored Hell Ruler had completely lost all hope. He fell into boundless despair. He seemed to see that no matter what he did, he was no match for Yi Chun. Since that was the case, they would preserve their last bit of dignity and fight until the very last moment. Hell Emperor's blood oath. Hell's disguise. Boom, boom, boom. The surrounding space twisted rapidly as the blood-colored Hell Emperor's body merged completely with Hell. Following that, the blood pool Hell transformed into a towering nether beast and charged at Yi Chun. Roar! The infernal demon trident let out a long roar. The rumbling sound shook the hearts of countless combatants. The Hell Emperor has completely released his own power. He has become one with Hell. This time, the Hell Emperor will win. Yi Chun, wait for your death. Countless underworld warriors were cheering for the Hell Emperor. The Hell Emperor had sacrificed everything to defeat the opponent before him. This was an existence worthy of praise and reverence from all the people of the underworld. The blood-colored Hell Emperor has earned my admiration, but against fellow Yi, there's only one result. The Patriarch revealed a solemn expression. He acknowledged the Hell Emperor's spirit, but he could only sigh at the Hell Emperor's strength. The blood-colored nether beast descended with a bang, releasing all of its blood energy. Endless resentful spirits surrounded its body. This was the most ferocious nether beast in Hell, and it was the Hell Emperor's last obsession. Roar! The blood-colored nether beast flew up and went straight for Yi Chun. Heavenly Emperor Order. Heavenly Sword Destruction. The majesty of the Heavenly Emperor's shadow behind, Yi Chun rose again as he released the Heavenly Emperor Order, ultimate heavenly sword technique. The wind and thunder of the 9 provinces stirred together, shaking the world and collapsing ghosts and gods. At this moment, Yi Chun's figure merged into the Heavenly Emperor's shadow. His towering body was like a towering Kunlun peak, and the long sword in his hand was like a river that could cover the earth. Slash! With a loud bang, the giant groaned. The blade of the sword was endless, and a single slash determined the world. Rumble! Kacha! 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 With a slash, the clear sky exploded for thousands of miles. Thunder fell from the sky, severing all evil thoughts. No one could disobey the Heavenly Emperor's order. The incomparably huge, blood-colored nether beast exploded with a loud bang, its body splitting from the center. Space-time fury. Yi Chun saw that the time was right and summoned the space-time fury to devour everything. Roar! The fury shook the heavens, devouring everything. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Endless power from the blood pool of Hell entered the fury's body. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Blood-colored lightning appeared all over the fury's body. All of Hell's fortune merged into it, devouring everything and evolving endlessly. This was the nature of the fury. As long as there was enough evolutionary energy, the fury would have unlimited potential. Moreover, Yi Chun had subdued the most mysterious space-time fury of the Fury clan. Boom! Boom! Countless netherworld experts were sent flying hundreds of meters away, coughing up mouthfuls of blood. The scene was even more terrifying than Hell itself. This. Bai Ming Yohuang's countenance contorted as her body trembled. Yi Qin's might compared to before was like the difference between the heavens and the earth. The Yi Qin now was no longer an existence that the underworld sovereign could look at directly. In fact, even gazing up at him became a luxury. The Archemperor frowned, his heart filled with shock. Yi Qin had effortlessly crushed an emperor who had given up everything to increase his power to the peak of the body integration level. Retreat. In the end, the Archemperor had no choice but to give the order he had never wanted to. Yi Qin had already reached the heaven-span realm, and with the help of the Lord of True Spirit, there was no way they could defeat them. Yes, sir. Bai Ming Yuang led the remnants of the Netherworld army up into the air. Yi Qin, don't get too full of yourself. The 18 Netherworld Emperors will definitely make you regret it. Ha ha ha. The Archemperor laughed heartily as the Netherworld experts vanished. Ha ha. Those idiots think they can turn the tables? Congratulations on reaching new heights, fellow Taoist Yi. The Patriarch said, laughing heartily. Many thanks, Patriarch. Yi Qin nodded slightly, then turned to look at the Lord of True Spirit. You've been tricked, Lord of True Spirit. There's no such thing as the Three Realms core. It's all a trap. End of chapter. Chapter 1982. That's impossible. This is the location of the test. How can I be tricked? Lord True Soul did not believe Yi Qin. Ha! This is a trap set up by the Emperor of the Underworld. They wanted to lure you here and then kill you at the hands of the Darkness Pool. They just didn't expect that I would subdue the Darkness Pool. Our agreement is over. We have nothing more to do with each other. With that, Yi Qin turned and left. Wu Shuang and the Patriarch followed. Yi Qin, you haven't helped me get the Three Realms core yet. Where are you going? The True Spirit Lord roared angrily, and a powerful psionic power burst out. With a loud bang, a huge chasm appeared in front of Yi Qin. Yi Qin looked at Lord True Soul coldly. I don't care about the Three Realms core or whatever. I said it's over. Lord True Soul, you're seeking death. His aura exploded and waves of underworld energy swept toward Lord True Soul. It was several times more powerful than the Lord True Soul's psionic energy before. Lord True Soul frowned when he felt this power. He could sense the underworld energy. This meant that Yi Qin had absorbed the Darkness Pool and Hell Monarch's power and could use the vast underworld energy. It could even be said that the underworld had become Yi Qin's home field. To fight him here was to seek death. Lord True Soul gritted his teeth, but did not dare to attack again. Let's go. Ha ha ha, all right. The Patriarch smiled mockingly at Lord True Soul. Lord True Soul was so angry that his face turned red. Yi Qin and the other two flew out of the Emperor of the Underworld Mountains. Then Yi Qin took out the dark energy crystal and infused it with underworld energy. Hiss, hiss, hiss. As the underworld energy entered the dark energy crystal, Yi Qin slowly sensed a familiar energy. Although it was not exactly the same as Su Yuhan's, it was the same source. Yuhan. Yi Qin's face was filled with a rare gentleness. The image of that long-lost figure appeared in his heart. Northeast. Let's go. The three of them flew toward the northeast direction of the underworld. When they returned to the underworld temple, the Archemperor was furious. Not only did we gain nothing from this battle, but we also lost Hell Monarch. Damn it. Boom, boom, boom. The Archemperor's enraged roar caused the air around him to explode and rocks to fall from the sky. Archemperor, please calm down. Bai Ming Yuang went up to persuade. Nobody would have thought that Yi Qin could devour the Darkness Pool with his Ascension Stage cultivation base. That's a strange creature that even ordinary itinerant immortals can't tame. This time, Yi Qin's strength has increased greatly. It won't be easy to deal with him. Humph, the 18 emperors of the underworld aren't pushovers. With the death of the Hell Emperor, Yi Qin is our greatest enemy. When I summon the other emperors, we must kill this brat. Yes. The Archemperor rose to his feet and headed toward the sacrificial altar. 50 kilometers behind the underworld hall was a majestic mountain surrounded by underworld chi. It was eerie and horrifying. The Archemperor flew over to the sacrificial altar. Mima, 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 uttering a command incantation, the Archemperor unleashed the power of summoning to the other emperors. Z, Z, Z. As the summoning power was activated, several spinning dark vortexes appeared in the void above the altar. Archemperor, why have you summoned us? We have a mission to find the Underworld Lord, and we don't have time to waste with you. The voices of the other emperors could be heard echoing out from within the vortexes. Ladies and gentlemen, it's like this. The Archemperor went on to explain what had happened with Yi Chun. What? The Hell Emperor is dead? Yi Chun killed him? Boom, boom. When the news of Hell Sovereign's death was announced, it instantly incited the rage of countless sovereigns. The entire space was filled with boundless tremors. The terrifying energy represented the rage of those sovereigns. The Archemperor's expression was very grim. After all, he had been the one who had led the war and was responsible for the defeat. Archemperor, you really are disappointing. How are you going to explain this to us? The Archemperor didn't try to shirk responsibility, but rather shouldered it all. Everyone, I'm mainly responsible for this failure. I underestimated Yi Chun's talent and strength, allowing him to take advantage of the situation and absorb the origin of darkness. I'm willing to accept any punishment, but only after I take my revenge. You're right, Archemperor. Yi Chun killed Hell Emperor, so that means he didn't. We 18 Underworld Emperors don't care about him. It doesn't matter that he has an extraordinary relationship with the Lord of the Underworld. You're right. Hoo. All of a sudden, the air trembled, and the reek of blood filled heaven and earth as three figures appeared in front of the Archemperor. Leave Yi Chun to us. The Archemperor looked over and saw the Corpse Emperor, the Bone Emperor, and the Blood Emperor. With the Corpse, Bone, and Blood Emperors, Yi Chun won't be able to escape this time. The Archemperor said, Ha ha ha. The three sovereigns laughed and disappeared. Meanwhile, on Yi Chun's side, following the guidance of the Nether Energy Crystal, the three of them arrived at the northeastern part of the Underworld. The surrounding area was filled with all sorts of dark energy. Even Yi Chun felt that it was chaotic and complicated. Yi Chun unleashed his dark energy, which formed an energy shield around the Patriarch and Wu Shuang, protecting them from the effects of the environment. Is there a problem here, fellow Taoist? The Patriarch asked. The environment here is very complicated, the Patriarch said. Yeah. The Patriarch nodded and looked around. This was a forest that emanated a strange aura, but also a frigid energy. It didn't seem like an ordinary forest at all. Yi Chun looked around and could sense that this was a concealment spell formation or perhaps some sort of smokescreen. The real door was hidden here. This way, relying on his understanding of dark energy, as well as the reaction of the Nether Energy Crystal, Yi Chun found a direction, and the three of them proceeded forward. The deeper they went, the more frigid the frigid energy was. Even through the energy shield, Wu Shuang and the Patriarch could feel themselves trembling. Yi Chun was fine. After all, with the power of the Pool of Darkness, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that he was one of the top experts in the underworld. Go! He unleashed his divine Will Sword Ki, piercing through the surrounding 50 kilometers. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The sword Ki traveled vertically, and all sorts of confidence was transmitted to Yi Chun through divine will. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Suddenly, the sword Ki sensed a white ball of frigid energy. A scene appeared in Yi Chun's mind. It was the White Frost Forest. This way, the three of them flew out and rushed toward the White Frost Forest. At this moment, outside the darkness, above the clouds, three figures appeared. They dared enter the White Frost Forest. Death is a given. Not bad, not bad. Trapped. Let's play with them. Let's go. The three figures flew out, also running toward the White Frost Forest. Chapter 1983. The White Frost Forest was extremely cold and filled with a strange aura that was like that of hell. This place is very uncomfortable. The old ancestor looked around and grumbled. Such a cold place is probably rare in the netherworld. Let's be careful. Yi Chun reminded. All right, The patriarch and Wushuang agreed, and the three continued forward. Following the guidance of the nether energy crystal, the three walked into the frost forest. Outside the forest, three figures flew in at the same time. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. A blood-red aura suddenly appeared in the air. The aura seemed to have a mind of its own as it rushed in the designated direction at an extremely fast speed. In the frost forest, Yi-Chun released his nether energy and fused it with the nether energy crystal, trying to locate the target as soon as possible. Hiss, hiss, hiss. The nether energy crystal was stimulated by the pool of darkness and a figure appeared. Looking at the image in the air, Yi-Chun could see that it was not Su Yuhan. Yi-Chun, I think this person is likely to be the lord of the netherworld. Yi-Chun nodded slightly at the patriarch's reminder. Looking at such a powerful aura, it's indeed possible. At that moment, the image suddenly opened its eyes and a wave of nether energy shot into the sky. The world shook and the wind blew. The three of them were shocked at the same time. Go! Yi-Chun released the power of the pool of darkness and gathered the image into a wave of dark energy that flew toward the frost forest. Let's go. The three of them flew after him, 100 miles behind them. These three are so fast. It's going to be tricky. Ha! They're looking for Su Yuhan, but this frost forest is their grave. The frost forest is the former lord of the netherworld's cultivation place. It's filled with danger and danger. Coupled with our sneak attack, they'll definitely die. All right, let's go. The three sovereigns' eyes were cold and murderous. They had to complete this mission. As the representatives of the last 9 sovereigns of the 18 sovereigns, if they wanted to raise their status, they had to complete the most difficult mission and gain the approval of the Nether Prison Elders. In this Netherworld war, Yi-Chun had killed 2 sovereigns, the Hound Sovereign and the Hell Sovereign. It had shocked the entire Netherworld. If they did not kill him to give everyone an explanation, the Netherworld would fall into chaos. This was why the Archemperor had summoned the 3 sovereigns. So. The 3 of them turned into a blood-colored aura and flew after Yi-Chun and the rest. At this moment, Yi-Chun and the other 2 followed the dark energy formed by the Lord of the Dark World's projection and continued to fly toward the interior of the frost forest. After about a quarter of an hour, they arrived at a place surrounded by 4 peaks. Stop! Yi-Chun commanded urgently. Fellow Taoist Yi, what did you discover? The patriarch was puzzled. This place is extremely strange. It's definitely not a simple natural creation. Yi-Chun glanced over. The 4 peaks were like a demonic claw, wrapping around the entire land of life. After obtaining the 8 Gates Divine Disc, Yi-Chun had also studied the extreme evil formation that fused nature. According to the 8 Gates Divine Plate, the terrain before them was the land of lifelessness. 4 peaks surround it, and the gate of life is not left behind. This place is extremely dangerous. The patriarch and Wushuang looked at each other and then at Yi-Chun. Yi-Chun's eyes blazed as the shadow of a divine disc appeared between his brows. As the 8 Gates Divine Disc continued to revolve, the formation around the 4 peaks was manifested. The land of the 4 peaks contains the 4 spirits' ominous formation. Everyone be careful. All right. The patriarch's expression changed. The underworld sword floated beside him, ready to deal with all kinds of challenges at any time. Sword chi circulated around Yi Wushuang's body, automatically forming a defense formation. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A cold wind suddenly blew in the environment, and the weather changed. 4 ominous bells appeared on the 4 peaks. Ring, ring, ring. The bell rang, and heaven and earth shook. Waves of psyche ability instilled into everyone's mind. Wushuang and the patriarch instantly entered the psyche domain. Wushuang, patriarch. Yi-Chun was anxious. Although this psyche control was useless against him, it was not ordinary to be able to let Wushuang and the patriarch enter it instantly. He did not know that this was the place where the Nether Lord cultivated psyche control. They've already entered the 4 Beast trial. What a bunch of idiots. They're courting death. Entering such a formation, one's mind will definitely be controlled by the ominous bells. They might even kill each other. Let's watch the show. The three sovereigns stood on the peak of the mountain and looked down at Yi Chun and the other two. Yi Chun sensed their aura, but he could not attack at the moment because he still had to take care of Wu Shuang and the Patriarch. If they failed the soul trial, their minds would be confused. Then, it would be the most tragic outcome. Yi Chun, it's time for you to die. The Corpse Emperor was the first to speak and shouted at Yi Chun. How dare you little rascals face me? Yi Chun replied forcefully. Ha ha! We're the Corpse Emperor, Bone Emperor, and Blood Emperor of the 18 queens and 9 sovereigns of the underworld. The 3 sovereigns have surrendered. Do you think you still have a chance? What a laughable ant. You're walking on the edge of death, yet you still think you won't get your shoes wet. How sad. Oh, since you're so confident, let's see how you can get those 2 out of your psyche control. The 3 sovereigns revealed a sinister smile at the same time. The 4-beast formation was a formation cultivated by the Netherlord. Ordinary people could not enter it and could only fall into it. Even the 3 sovereigns did not dare to enter, let alone Yi Chun and the other 2. Therefore, they thought that God was helping them to complete their mission this time. Facing the 4-beast formation and the Corpse Emperor, Bone Emperor, and Blood Emperor, 3 powerhouses of the underworld, Yi Chun could not be careless even though he was confident. 8 Gates Divine Disc. Yi Chun released the power of the 8 Gates Divine Disc. Instantly, the Divine Disc appeared in the void. Countless lines on it began to spin. Suddenly, countless strange runes appeared before Yi Chun's eyes. Other than him, no one could understand the logic behind it. What is this? It's too strange. It seems to be some kind of treasure, but its quality is difficult to determine. The 3 sovereigns looked at each other. No one knew what it was. The divine disc and Yi Chun's mind were connected. As long as Yi Chun's divine consciousness controlled it, it would be fine. As the divine disc spun, the 4-beast bell formation became clearer. Although this formation did not seem to have a door of life, Yi Chun soon found the core of the formation through the divine disc. At the same time, Wu Shuang and the Patriarch were in danger. Under the psyche tribute, the bell rang. The Patriarch and Wu Shuang could not resist the psyche corrosion. They even felt that their bodies were no longer under their control and kept walking in a strange direction. In front of them was an endless abyss. The Patriarch's eyes widened and his face was bloodshot. He wanted to stop himself, but there was only darkness in front of him. There was only despair due to his psyche. Although Wu Shuang was the heavenly Emperor Sword Spirit, this kind of psyche control was even more ruthless to the body of Sword Spirit. Their lives were in danger. Chapter 1984. Ding Ling Ling. The ringing around him was getting more and more disturbing. Even Yi Chun could feel the tremor in his mind. Z. At this critical moment, the 8 Gates Divine Disc released a golden light and locked onto the core of the formation. I see. Yi Chun's eyes were locked onto the core. He gathered chi on his sword fingers, wanting to destroy it in one strike. But at that moment, the 4 ominous bell formation suddenly changed its mode of operation, and the shadow of the Netherlord appeared in the void again. That's the Netherlord. Seeing the Netherlord, the 3 sovereigns were shocked at the same time. The Netherlord released the power of the Nether energy, causing the wind and clouds to surge and startling the sun, moon, ghosts, and gods. The power of the 4 ominous bell array soared by more than 10 times. Instantly, all the living beings in the surrounding space fell into a spiritual crisis. Even the 3 emperors could feel the extreme terror, and they all knelt on the ground, worshipping the Underworld Lord. Lord of the Underworld, we are the 18 emperors of the Underworld. We are here to pay our respects. Please have mercy, Lord of the Underworld. The 3 emperors bowed their heads, shaking the space around them. The sound of the Underworld bell was like a sharp weapon that could reap souls, causing everyone to tremble in fear. Z. Yi Chun felt his mind shaking rapidly. There was a force that kept corroding his mind and was even going to devour his consciousness. Ha ha! Evil creature, you dare to target me? Yi Chun laughed maniacally in the face of the peak technique of mind control. True fire surrounded his body, and merged with the eight gates divine disk to form the true fire, scorching sky formation to protect his body. He turned to face the shadow of the Netherlord. Through the eight gates divine disk, he had already discovered that the core of the four ominous bell formation was the shadow of the Netherlord. The core of the formation that controlled the mind was also invisible. Eight gates divine plate. Open the gate. Yi Chen channeled the power of the god disk and opened the door opening. Instantly, mind energy flooded Yi Chen's primordial spirit body like a torrent. With a dragon's roar, Yi Chen pointed his sword at the Netherlord shadow. Heavenly Emperor's order. Mortal sword revolution. The Heavenly Thearcha's ultimate sword technique appeared again. Yi Chen swung the Heavenly Tharch sword and slashed at the Netherlord's shadow furiously. Whoosh! As the sword slashed down, the sword chi fused with the spiritual power of the gate of opening, instantly sweeping away the shadow of the Netherlord. Z. Countless cracks appeared on the shadow of the Netherlord. It was about to collapse. However, the shadow of the Netherlord didn't seem to want to die just like that. It let out a mournful cry, and the four ominous bell array sensed it at the same time. Countless mental energies fused with the shadow of the Netherlord. Chi. As the mental energy gathered in the four fiends bell array returned to the shadow of the Netherlord, the injuries on his body quickly healed as if he had never been injured. Yi Chen frowned, and his heart skipped a beat. He did not expect the Netherlord's shadow to have such a trick up his sleeve. He understood that the longer he delayed in the outside world, the more dangerous it would be for Yi Wuxuang and the Patriarch. He had to end the battle as soon as possible. Yi Chen, you deserve to die for going up against the Netherlord. Yes, what kind of person is the Netherlord? In the four ominous bell array, a strand of his demonic will is enough to kill you. Furthermore, your two friends have probably already fallen into the trap of the four ominous bells. The three Grand Dukes laughed at the same time and mocked Yi Chen. Under such circumstances, they believed that Yi Chen could not save himself. Not only could he not save his friends, but he could not even save himself. As the mental energy within the four ominous bells array continued to flow towards the Netherlord's shade, not only was the Netherlord's shade strength increasing, but the entire array was also improving. Kill! Yi Chen flew up after shouting and went straight for the Netherlord's shade. Ha. At that moment, maniacal laughter shook the sky in the array. Countless resentful spirits appeared at the same time. Squeak. The resentful spirits let out miserable and strange cries as they charged at Yi Chen. Golden fire wheel. Yi Chen closed and opened his eyes. The true Samadhi fire transformed into the golden fire wheel to ensure that no demons could invade him. Whoosh. The flames burned the sky, and the divine gate shook the earth. With the eight gates divine disk and the golden fire wheel, the countless resentful spirits around Yi Chen could not get close to him. How dare you take my friend hostage? I'll kill you today. Yi Chen showed no mercy facing the demonic will of the most powerful person in the netherworld. The Heavenly Emperor's sword in his hand commanded the living beings in heaven and earth. The divine disk between his brows shook the heavenly Tao's fortune. At that moment, heaven, earth, and man combined into one. Yi Chen was the end. Heavenly Emperor Sword. Mortal Sword Revolution. Yi Chen performed the mortal sword again after breaking through all obstacles. At that moment, countless immortal silhouettes appeared one after another. They charged at the Netherlord's shade with all sorts of weapons and immortal weapons. The three sovereigns were shocked to see that. Yi Chen, a tribulation stage cultivator, could summon the immortal silhouettes. Naturally, they could not understand such a scene because Yi Chen was a heavenly emperor and a zenith heaven golden immortal. It was a piece of cake for him to summon a few immortal silhouettes. The immortal silhouettes were furious as they slashed at the resentful spirits. Swoosh. The immortal light soared into the sky. The countless resentful spirits turned into psyche, energy, and scattered. Withdraw. At that moment, Yi Chen opened the 8 gates divine disc again. The soul energy of the resentful spirits was absorbed by the door. Try use soul refining method. Subsequently, Yi Chen performed the soul refining method and refined the resentful spirits' evil energy completely. He turned them into pure psyche energy for his own use. Heaven-splitting slash. With the obstacles removed, Yi Chen raised the Heavenly Emperor's sword and slashed at the Netherlord's shade. Rumble, kacha, 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 accompanied by thunder and lightning. The heavenly sword slashed at the evil spirits. The Netherlord's shade shattered and turned into nothingness. What? The 3 sovereigns were dumbfounded. The Netherlord had failed in the 4 ominous bell formation. They looked at Yi Chen with complicated expressions. They wanted to retreat. We're under the Archemperor's orders. If we fail, we'll die. We can't wait now. Let's go. All right. The 3 sovereigns had the same thought. They flew to assassinate Yi Chen. All of you stand down. Yi Chen was worried about Wu Shuang. The Patriarch of Hell was not in the mood to fight back. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Divine lightning gathered around his body and unleashed a great divinity. Heavenly lightning annihilating palm. Rumble. With a loud bang, the 3 sovereigns were shocked at the same time, and their bodies were involuntarily sent flying. Impossible. The 3 of them looked at each other. They were all at the peak of the conjoint body stage. Their foundations were strong, but they were sent flying by Yi Chen with a single palm. This scene was too exaggerated. Wu Shuang Patriarch, what are you waiting for? As Yi Chen swung the Heavenly Emperor's sword, sword energy attacked the ominous bells. Ding-ling-ling, kacha, kacha, kacha. The ominous bells counterattacked, but they were no match for Yi Chen and shattered on the spot. The 4 ominous bell formation was broken. Whoosh, whoosh. 2 figures appeared out of thin air. It was the Patriarch and Wu Shuang. At this moment, they were dispirited and their bodies were trembling uncontrollably. Imperial Spirit Scripture. The Heavenly Emperor's eye appeared between Yi Chen's brows. He channeled the Imperial Spirit Scripture. For a moment, a dazzling holy light illuminated everything. Chapter 1985. Under the illumination of the Heavenly Emperor light, Yi Wu Shuang and the Patriarch of Hell gradually recovered their divine consciousness. Fellow Yi. The Patriarch opened his eyes and saw Yi Chen. He was filled with emotions. He thought he would be trapped in that space forever. He did not expect to come out alive. Patriarch Wu Shuang, are you all right? Yi Chen asked. I'm fine, the Patriarch said. Yi Wu Shuang nodded. The 4 ominous bell formation is broken. What's left are the corpse, bone, and blood sovereigns. Huh? The Patriarch was confused. He looked at the peak and saw 3 figures standing there. They were the corpse sovereign, the bone sovereign, and the blood sovereign. The 3 of them had decided to kill Yi Chen and the other 2 themselves. Kill. The bone sovereign was the first to attack. A bone blade appeared in his hand. The bone blade was engraved with all kinds of strange patterns. Bone splitting formation. With a wave of his hand, the bone blades transformed into countless bone chains that fell from the sky and wrapped around everyone. What's this? The Patriarch frowned as he felt a powerful, murderous intent. Watch out, Yi Chen warned and pointed his sword at the sky toward the Bone Sovereign. Huh? The Bone Sovereign was shocked. He did not expect Yi Chen to be so decisive. Continue to release the formation. We'll protect you. All right. The Blood Sovereign and the Corpse Sovereign stood on both sides and released their powers. Blood rain. Corpse stench. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Countless corpses fell from the sky like rocks. The 2 of them were disgusted. This, shameless. The Patriarch was furious. The Underworld sword appeared in his hand again. Underworld sword energy soar. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The sword energy carried the Underworld's killing intent and soared into the sky. Its target was the Corpse Sovereign. Ha ha. Patriarch of Hell, are you satisfied to die in a mountain of corpses? I'll take care of you myself this time. The Patriarch of Hell was furious and flew away. Yi Wu Shuang released the unparalleled sword intent and targeted the Blood Sovereign. He left Yi Chen to deal with the Bone Sovereign formation. Kacha, kacha, kacha. Suddenly, the ground cracked. Countless bones rose from the ground and pressed toward Yi Chun. Ancient God Dharma form. Yi Chun activated the ancient God might in his body with the heaven and earth law embodiment. In an instant, the ancient God body shone brightly. Clang, clang, clang. The ancient God's 3 heads and 6 arms suddenly supported the countless bone peaks. What? Looking at the gigantic golden body of the ancient God, the Bone Sovereign's heart shuddered. He finally understood why the Hound Sovereign and the Hell Sovereign were killed by Yi Chun. This person is so different from ordinary people. I can only use my ultimate move. Using the Bone Blade, Bone Emperor sliced open his arm. Immediately, blood flowed out, causing the patterns on the bone blade to emit a bloody glow. Bloodlight sacrifice. Mountain of bones. Boom, boom, boom. 3 spatial vortexes appeared in the sky, and countless skeletons fell from them, piling up like a mountain. These bones contained a powerful poison. Once touched, it would instantly turn into a pool of blood. Chi, chi, chi. Soon, the bones fell on the ancient god golden body and started to corrode it. Ridiculous. However, Yi Chun stood up slowly when he heard the word ridiculous. With a roar, the ancient god golden body stretched out its 6 arms. Its power shook the heavens, and the immortals and demons bowed to it. Boom, boom, boom. Countless bones exploded. The ancient god golden body was immune to all poisons. Seeing that the poison that could corrode steel had no effect on Yi Chun, the Bone Sovereign was shocked. This man is a demon. Bone Sovereign, we will share the burden for you. You should kill that brat. Yes, Bone Sovereign, what are you waiting for? Facing the Blood Sovereign and the Corpse Sovereign's questions, the Bone Sovereign was speechless. Sigh. The 2 sovereigns sighed at the same time. Then, the Corpse Sovereign and the Blood Sovereign unleashed their ultimate abilities at the same time. The Blood Sovereign flew up to the sky, and the blood rain became extremely dense. The corrosive blood rain was still on the bones, trying to destroy Yi Chun and the other 2. Damn it! Yi Chun was furious. The Heavenly Emperor's light appeared in his ancient god body again. The ancient god golden body stretched out its arms and aimed at the Blood Sovereign. The Blood Sovereign felt a strong, murderous intent that could penetrate his soul. This is... Just when he was puzzled, the ancient god made his move. 6 paths of reincarnation fist. Boom, boom, boom. The 6-armed ancient god unleashed all of his might. Countless fist rays that carried the 6 paths energy shot out. The fist rays were so fast that they arrived in front of the Blood Sovereign in the blink of an eye. The Blood Sovereign was like a sandbag. Boom, boom, boom. The powerful energy instantly crushed the Blood Sovereign's meridians, muscles, and bones, plunging him into endless pain. The Blood Sovereign let out an earth-shattering roar before he fell to the ground. Boom! With a thud, the Blood Sovereign was dead. Blood Sovereign. The Bone Sovereign and the Corpse Sovereign flew down to check and found that the Blood Sovereign was dead. Yi Chun, how dare you kill the Blood Sovereign? The Corpse Sovereign roared. Why wouldn't I dare? How dare you be so arrogant in front of me? You deserve to die. The 6-armed ancient god turned around and glared at the Bone Sovereign and the Corpse Sovereign. The 2 of them were terrified. They did not even have time to care about the Blood Sovereign's body and ran for their lives. Shameless bastard die. Yi Chun pointed his finger, and the sword ray struck the Bone Sovereign's vital point. The Bone Sovereign's body trembled as he used the last of his strength to jump into the whirlpool. Huff, huff, huff. Yi Chun spat out the Samadhi true fire, and the Blood Sovereign's body instantly disappeared. Wu Shuang, Patriarch, are you all right? Of course we're fine. Fellow Yi, you're now extremely powerful. Even the 18 emperors of the underworld are no match for you. These are all useless. There are still powerhouses among the upper 9 emperors. I have to find Yuhan as soon as possible. I can't let those emperors of the underworld find her. All right, the 3 of them flew out and explored further into the white frost forest. The deeper they went into the white frost forest, the lower the temperature. Yi-chan released the nether energy crystal again. Hiss, hiss, hiss. With the nether lord's energy, they flew into the void. Let's go. Yi-chan was excited and sped up. However, the place where they found the nether energy crystal was just a cave. Yi-chan looked at the cave. It was bottomless. Wushuang, Patriarch, wait for me. I'll go in. It's dangerous. Be careful. It's fine. Yi-chan entered the cave personally. As long as he could find Yuhan, any danger was nothing. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. He flew in and turned into a shadow. Yi-chan had already entered 800 meters, but he did not find anything. Impossible. Yi-chan's flames spread out and illuminated the surroundings. Through the golden pupil flame, he finally found some clues. Someone had definitely been here. Yi-chan felt sad when he saw the ashes. He was too late. End of this chapter. Chapter 1986. Although he did not find her, Yi-chan sensed Su Yuhan's aura in this place. The aura had become rather chaotic, and there was a large amount of powerful underworld energy mixed in it. The underworld energy was the symbol of the Lord of the Underworld. Yuhan, I won't let you bear this alone. Yi-chan's brows were tightly knitted together. The emotions in his heart could not be expressed in words. Even someone as determined as him could not control his emotions when he thought of his sweetheart. Yi-chan thought that it was a mistake for Su Yuhan to come to the underworld because she was restricted by the Netherlord's consciousness. He wanted to save Yuhan. You've come. Just when Yi-chan was about to leave, a voice suddenly came from the darkness. Yi-chan turned around suddenly and saw two balls of hellfire burning. The two balls of nether fire were like the eyes of a nether beast. They were extremely terrifying and carried great deterrence. Naturally, it was ineffective against Yi-chan. Who is it? Yi-chan questioned coldly, but he already knew what was going on because he had sensed the Netherlord's energy. Ha, you know it. Netherlord, are you trying to show off? Yi-chan, Su Yuhan is my substitute. She'll definitely become my primordial spirit's vessel. You can't stop her. Ridiculous. Aren't you afraid that I'll destroy your nest and completely destroy the netherworld? What big words. Do you really think that the eternal underworld can be destroyed so easily? Even this underworld lord does not dare to say that I want to destroy the underworld, because the ancient existences in the underworld are things that even I cannot see clearly. Die. Yi-chan did not want to waste his breath. The Netherlord before him was formed by the condensation of nether chi. The Netherlord had purposely left it behind to show that Su Yuhan was speeding up on her path to becoming the Netherlord. This was to give Yi-chan despair. However, never would he have thought that Yi-chan did not care about that at all. Even if Su Yuhan really became the Lord of the Underworld, he would save her. Ninth Heaven Lightning Palm. Yi-chan attacked all of a sudden. Divine lightning roared as his palm energy charged. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Boom, boom, boom. In the blink of an eye, the shadow of the Nether Lord shattered into nothingness. Ha. What's the point of shattering my nether shadow? Are you trying to vent the despair in your heart? What a pity. At the moment of destruction, the shadow of the Nether Lord was still taunting and provoking him. Yi-chan turned around and left calmly. Outside the cave, Old Ancestor and Wushuang were waiting. Fellow Taoist Yi, did you find any clues? The Patriarch asked. Yuhan stayed here before, but that was a long time ago. Let's go. Oh. The Patriarch knew what Yi-chan was feeling, so he nodded and followed him. The three of them continued their search. In the white frost forest, there were thousands of layers of frozen earth. The surrounding space was even stranger and extremely cold. Even though the Old Ancestor cultivated the Yellow Springs chi, he was still affected by the cold, and his body began to tremble. I didn't expect this place to be so cold. Interesting. Ancestor Huang Quan released Huang Quan chi to surround his body and protect himself. On the other hand, Yi Wushuang activated the sword spirit power. Tiny swords automatically surrounded him to protect him. The three of them traveled another 1,000 miles and finally arrived at the second domain of the White Frost Forest. The Corpse Emperor and the Bone Emperor of the Nether Palace returned. Pooh! The Bone Sovereign was drenched in blood. His body structure had been destroyed by Yi Chun, especially his lower body. It was a horrible sight, as he had lost his ability to reproduce. Damn it! Even though the Bone Sovereign's body was severely injured, the trauma in his heart was even more severe. He roared out loud from the top of the underworld hall. Corpse Emperor, what's going on? The Arch-Emperor asked. Exalted Arch-Emperor, Yi Chun is too strong. The three of us working together weren't even a match for him. The Blood Emperor was killed on the spot, and the Bone Sovereign was severely injured. He's now a cripple, and I was seriously injured. The Corpse Emperor pretended to be trembling, but the truth was that he had been the least injured of the three emperors. What? The Arch-Emperor said angrily. Didn't you issue a military order saying that you could kill Yi Chun? Not only did you fail, but you even lost the Blood Emperor. What else do you have to say? Huh? The Bone Sovereign and the Corpse Emperor were both shocked. Arch-Emperor, please show mercy. It's not that we didn't do our best, but that Yi Chun is too strong. He destroyed all three of our spell formations with ease. His cultivation base is incredible, and only the most powerful of the 9 emperors can stop him. What did you say? That's the truth. The Bone Sovereign and the Corpse Emperor dropped to their knees, not daring to look up. Yeah, the Arch-Emperor gritted his teeth. How could he ever have guessed that Yi Chun would be so difficult to deal with? He absorbed the essence of darkness, which means that he has powerful infernal powers. His environment is no longer able to restrict him, and his infernal powers are even stronger than yours. How troublesome. That's right. The 2 emperors nodded in agreement. This way, they would be able to lessen their responsibilities. Oomph. You're both responsible for the death of the Blood Emperor. Go to the Assembly of Elders and receive your punishment. Yes, sir. The 2 emperors hurried away, not wanting to be blamed by the Arch-Emperor. Tap, tap, tap. At that point, the sound of light footsteps could be heard, and a lithe figure appeared on the ground. It was none other than a beautiful woman. What's causing the Arch-Emperor such a melancholy? The woman asked. She wore a tight, crimson and black garment that covered her snake-like body, and as she walked, she was so mesmerizing that any ordinary person would be mesmerized. Even the Arch-Emperor couldn't help but stare at her, and his heart went numb. Ha ha! Snake Queen, it's you. She was the Underworld Snake Queen, one of the 18 emperors of the Underworld. Arch-Emperor, you should know very well that the reason the 9 emperors have all been awakened is because of your incompetence. The Arch-Emperor said awkwardly. Yi Chun had put the Underworld Hall in such a passive position, and that was his responsibility. Snake Queen, since you're here, what do you think we should do about Yi Chun? Our most important mission is to find the Underworld Lord. The old bastard from the Hall of Elders are already calling for a new Underworld Lord. What? Scoundrel! The Arch-Emperor was enraged. He could never have imagined that the people from the Hall of Elders would be so rude. But Su Yuhan hasn't fully transformed into the Underworld Lord, and we don't know where she is. Finding her will be very difficult. Difficult? What a joke. Do you really think that's a good reason? The Arch-Emperor was furious at being rebuked. Yi Chun is our breakthrough point. Why? Because he has the Underworld Energy Crystal, which belonged to the Lord of the True Spirit. Years ago, the Underworld Lord, the Lord of the True Spirit, and the Lord of the Devil Realm worked together to operate the core of the 3 realms. All 3 of them left behind treasures that were formed from their auras. The Underworld Lord left the Underworld Energy Crystal behind, and it's in Yi Chun's possession right now. Haha, perfect. Kill Yi Chun, take the Underworld Energy Crystal, and we'll be able to find the Underworld Lord. Don't let the 9 emperors down, Arch-Emperor. Understood. The Arch-Emperor's eyes turned cold as he prepared to take action himself. The White Frost Forest Second Realm was filled with countless black ice crystals, making it look like a kingdom of crystals. As Yi Chun and the other 2 set foot. Chapter 1987. In the second domain of the White Frost Forest, the aura of the Underworld Lord became increasingly dense. Yi Chun released the Nether Energy Crystal in an attempt to resonate with it. He looked in all directions. Everything within a radius of 100 miles entered his eyes, but the environment here was very complicated, and there was a certain degree of restriction on the golden eye's flame. As the three of them walked on the land of ice crystals, Yi-chan began to feel the strangeness of this place. Even with the energy Yi-chan released to protect them, Yu Wuxuang and the Patriarch still felt that the temperature was too low. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Suddenly, a hissing sound came from the space around them, causing Yi-chan and the other two to be on high alert. "Fellow Taoist Yi, what's that sound?" The Patriarch asked. "It's like the cry of a certain creature, like a snake." "Snake?" Hearing the word snake, the Patriarch smiled. He seemed to have thought of something ambiguous. Yi-chan understood the Patriarch's personality. He turned to look at the surrounding space and found that there were indeed traces on the ice crystals. Although they were very small, Yi-chan could still see them with his eyesight. This might not be an ordinary snake. Yeah, it's impossible for ordinary snakes to survive in such an environment. The old ancestor walked forward and touched the ice crystals. Instantly, he felt his fingers go numb. "Ancestor, what's wrong? There's actually poison on this ice crystal." The old ancestor said coldly. "Venom?" Yi-chan walked to the front and wiped his hand lightly. "Be careful, fellow Yi. It's all right." Yi-chan had the body of an ancient god. He was immune to all poisons, so he was not afraid at all. After observing and touching it many times, Yi-chan felt that this venom was not as simple as it seemed. This snake might not be a real existence, but a manifestation of some kind of energy. In that case, they might have been targeted. "Be careful, we might be targeted," Yi-chan said. "What?" The Patriarch looked at his finger and understood. These bastards. To think that they would resort to such methods. However, to be able to keep up with us, this guy is not simple. It might be an expert from the underworld. After all, I killed the Dog Emperor, the Hell Emperor, and the Blood Emperor. The 18 emperors of the underworld will definitely be displeased. Huh, my hands are itching. If you dare come, I'll kill you. Go. Yi-chan waved, and the three of them walked forward. Hiss, hiss, hiss. At this moment, a white ice snake crawled out from a crack in the ice crystal and looked at the three of them. Then, it quickly disappeared into the ice crystal. White Frost Forest's first domain. Exalted Archemperor. This is where Yi-chan and his companions disappeared. The corpse sovereign stepped forward and said, "And very good. Let's go." Yes. The Archemperor led his army into the White Frost Forest, which was a restricted area in the Netherworld. Not even the 18 emperors would come here of their own accord. The first realm of the White Frost Forest looked the same as before. Before long, the Archemperor was at the location of the Four Fiends Bell Formation, which Yi-chan had destroyed earlier. Exalted Archemperor, this is where the Blood Emperor died. The Archemperor slowly walked over and touched the ground, which was scorched black and splattered with blood. Corpse Emperor, sneak attack. He bowed slightly to the soil, and everyone bowed together. With that, the Archemperor led the group toward the second realm of the White Frost Forests. In the depths of the second territory, Yi-chan once again found traces of the Nether Lord based on the senses of the Nether Chi crystal. On the ice crystal stone platform in front, there were some traces of blood. This is... Yi-chan's heart trembled. Could it be Yuhan's blood? He used his nether power to connect the blood to the crystals, and soon, a connection was formed. This was not what Yi-chan wanted to see. Although he really wanted to find Su Yuhan, if he had to rely on her injuries to find her, then he would rather not. A grim expression appeared on Yi-chan's face. Both the Patriarch and Wuxuang were intelligent people, and knew that he had confirmed that the blood had come from Su Yuhan. What happened to you, Yuhan? The Netherlords was a form of torture for Su Yuhan, forcing her to enter the Netherworld and search for her memories. The White Frost Forest was the Netherlord's former cultivation location, so it was only natural that Su Yuhan would come here. But what did the blood mean? Did the Netherlord's control over Su Yuhan make her feel angry and uneasy? Let's go. Yi-chan was worried about Su Yuhan and knew that he couldn't afford to waste any more time. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The three of them blurred into motion, heading toward the final realm of the White Frost Forest. Before long, The Archemperor and his people arrived. There's an outsider's aura. The Archemperor tossed out a jade plate, which was filled with bugs. The bugs quickly searched for the aura in the area and quickly reported back to the Archemperor. That way, yes, everyone obeyed the Archemperor's orders and chased after Yi Chun and the others. At that moment, the ice crystal snake appeared again and then disappeared. High up in the sky, a person sat cross-legged in the clouds. She had a seductive figure and an enchanting face. It was the Snake Queen. "My little darling, you finally sent me a message." An ice snake coiled around the Snake Queen's arm. It was the same as the one in the White Frost Forest, and it was using the Netherworld to send a message. "Ha ha, Yi Chun, stepping into the third realm of the White Frost Forest is the beginning of your death." She clearly knew something, and her cold eyes were filled with pity for Yi Chun and the others, as well as the excitement of killing. Then, the Snake Queen's figure transformed into a huge snake made of ice energy. She instantly charged towards the huge frost peak below. When she reached the ice mountain, she disappeared as if she had never been there. Yi Chun and the others hurried forward and finally arrived at the final realm of the White Frost Forest. The reaction of the Netherworld crystals is getting stronger. It might be here. He had mixed feelings. It would be great if he could find Su Yuhan, but he did not want to see his lover hurt. He activated the golden pupil flame and searched for information around him. All kinds of energy entered his vision, including the energy of the Netherworld Lord. Rumble. At that moment, a giant frozen door suddenly appeared on the wall of the ice mountain. Yi Chun looked at the frozen door warily, then reached out and released his psionic power at the door. Hiss, hiss, hiss. The psionic power moved toward the frozen door, and just as it was about to touch the door, a giant head of nether beast suddenly appeared on the door. Roar. With a furious roar, the snake-like thing instantly devoured the psionic power that Yi Chun had released. The patriarch's heart jumped, and he felt that this place was indeed terrifying. "Fellow Yi, it seems that this door isn't that easy to enter. You're really careful. I almost want to open it myself just now." "Be careful," Yi Chun warned, then walked straight toward the door. "Fellow Yi, don't get close." In order to find Su Yuhan, Yi Chun was not afraid of any danger. He was fighting for time. Chapter 1988. As he approached the frozen door, Yi Chun's body emitted a flame glow. He extended his arm toward the door. The patriarch was panicking. He had no idea what exactly the nether beast on the frozen door was, so it was dangerous to do that. However, recalling that he was Yi Chun, the most mysterious and terrifying existence in this world, he felt much more at ease. Roar. As expected, the gigantic beast head on the frozen door appeared again in an attempt to swallow Yi Chun. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At the critical moment, true Samadhi fire erupted from Yi Chun's body. With the true Samadhi fire lingering around him, evil could not get close to him. The beast head looked like it was in pain as its body gradually appeared on the door. It turned out to be a frost lizard. Roar. The frost lizard glared at Yi Chun furiously and seemed to be very vigilant. "I don't mean any harm. Is she your master?" Yi Chun pointed his sword in the air, and Su Yuhan's image appeared in the air. The frost lizard was much gentler after seeing Su Yuhan's image. It even looked at Yi Chun curiously, trying to figure out who exactly he was. Yi Chun was elated to see the frost lizard's change. As expected, the frost lizard was protecting Su Yuhan. So, was Su Yuhan behind the door? "I'm her friend. Trust me." Yi Chun released soul light from his eyes, trying to reach a consensus with the frost lizard. However, the frost lizard seemed to be very vigilant. It would bare its fangs as soon as Yi Chun got close. At that moment, both of them were in a stalemate. At the critical moment, Yi Chun took out the nether energy crystal. Piss, piss, pissed. Releasing the nether energy, the frost lizard sensed the familiarity of the nether energy and gradually became less hostile toward Yi Chun. Hiss, hiss, hiss. The frost lizard stuck its tongue out and could not stop sniffing the nether energy crystal. Eventually, its body shrunk back to the stone door. Rumble. At that moment, the stone door opened slowly. A chilling aura rushed out. Even the true samadhi fire was frozen and extinguished. It was impossible for ordinary people to release such a powerful aura. Yichen flew into the ice cave. Yuhan, Yuhan. He called out a few times, but there was no response. Whoosh! Yichen tossed out the nether energy crystal. As the crystal hovered in the air, the nether energy dispersed and began to gather in the air. As long as he followed the direction of the nether energy crystals, he would definitely be able to find his target. Wu Shuang and the Patriarch were still guarding outside. They hoped that Yichen could find Su Yuhan himself. Yichen's figure turned illusory, and his clone appeared. So. He continued to walk around the ice cave, but to no avail. Fellow Yi. Suddenly, the Patriarch spoke. What's wrong? Yichen asked. That wall seems a little strange. The ancestor pointed at a frozen mountain wall in the distance. Yichen could see the blurry image at first glance. His heart shuddered. Yuhan. He flew out and approached the mountain wall. Wu Shuang and the old ancestor also followed. Hoo. At this moment, the nether aura crystal's energy was also gathering towards the mountain wall. It really is here, Yichen thought to himself as he extended his hand to touch the mountain wall. The frost lizard body also appeared on the mountain wall. It could actually move freely on the mountain wall, but the mountain wall was still extremely hard and couldn't be broken by itself. They could see a person sealed in ice within the wall. That person's appearance was extremely similar to Su Yuhan. Fellow Yi, how do you plan to break this ice seal? The Patriarch asked. This, Yichen could not think of a good idea. It was actually not difficult to break the ice by force, but he was most afraid of hurting the person inside. If Su Yuhan was severely injured and was healing, he would definitely hurt her if he broke the ice by force. You guys stay back. The Patriarch and Wu Shuang retreated according to Yichen's instructions. Yichen walked forward and extended his hand, placing it on the ice seal. True Spirit 9 Transformation. Releasing the True Spirit 9 Transformation, Yichen's body slowly turned into the frost lizard. This? The Patriarch was shocked. Yichen's abilities were unimaginable. Looking at the Patriarch's shocked expression, Yi Wushuang revealed a proud smile. Master has all kinds of changes in heaven and earth. He's unpredictable. Yes. The Patriarch replied with a smile. At this moment, Yichen transformed into the frost lizard and went straight into the ice seal. Ha. At this moment, a maniacal laughter suddenly came from outside the ice cave. Oh no, someone is coming. Let's go. Whoosh. The two of them flew out and blocked outside the ice cave. Who is it? The Patriarch asked. You're not dead yet? We won't die even if you die. Wu Shuang said coldly. The newcomer was none other than the Archemperor, leading a host of powerful experts from the Netherworld. Archemperor. The Patriarch immediately recognized the Archemperor. Ha. Patriarch Yellow Springs. I'll send you on your way today. How laughable. The Patriarch held Yellow Springs' sword in hand, completely unfazed by the Archemperor's provocation. Where's Yichen? The Archemperor's expression flickered, and he no longer had a smile on his face. Instead, he radiated killing intent. Yichen isn't here. The Patriarch knew that they had to buy time for Yichen to save the people in the ice seal and not let anyone disturb him. Are you looking to die? The Archemperor didn't believe him. Ruinable. A domineering aura erupted from the Archemperor's palm, like a ferocious tiger descending a mountain or a flood dragon emerging from a sea. Yellow Springs' sword seal. The Patriarch Yellow Springs didn't dare to be careless. He gathered all of his Yellow Springs' sword energy on his sword and unleashed it. Boom! Their attacks slammed into each other, causing the air to tremble violently, and countless chunks of ice began to fall from the sky. If you want to fight back, I'll kill you first. Don't even think about it. Yi Wushuang also attacked, sending out Heavenly Emperor sword energy toward the Archemperor. Clang! However, just as the sword energy was about to reach the Archemperor, a domineering aura appeared to block it. What? Yi Wushuang said, his eyes cold and filled with disbelief. The patriarch had to be at the peak of the body integration stage at the very least, which made him very difficult to deal with. Huh, allow me to teach you a lesson, patriarch. Chuckling coldly, Patriarch Yellow Springs sent the Yellow Springs sword out again, causing the surrounding ice to shatter as it shot toward the Archemperor. Try to fish in troubled waters? Impossible. The Archemperor flew up into the air, slashing his claws through the air. BZZT, BZZT, BZZT. All of a sudden, an enormous devilish claw appeared, taking various shapes and forms as it shot toward Patriarch Yellow Springs. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The devilish claw moved with incredible speed, unleashing countless streams of infernal power that were almost impossible to evade. Before long, Patriarch Yellow Springs was covered in bloody wounds. Your strength is not worth mentioning at all. Back off. Don't even think about it. The Patriarch swore to protect Yi Chun so that he could save the people in the Ice Seal. Then die. Into Chapter 1989. The Patriarch stood there with his sword in hand, vowing to defend the Archemperor with his life on the line. The Patriarch of Hell, I only wanted to kill Yi Chun. Since you want to die with him, I'll fulfill your wish. The Archemperor's eyes shone with ferocious light as he reached out with devilish claws toward the Patriarch. Ha! Do you think I, your ancestor, would be afraid of you for the sake of a friend? The Huang Quan sword will merge with the sword Qi. The Grand Ancestor wielded the sword with both hands. So. Sword Qi shot out in all directions, and a majestic power instantly slashed the demonic claw. Clang, clang, clang. However, when the sword Qi struck the demonic claw, it was unable to break it. In fact, the sound of metal clashing rang out. It could be seen that the demonic claw contained powerful laws. It was not as simple as it seemed. Ha! You want to fight this emperor with just this bit of strength? What a joke. The Archemperor was one of the 9 emperors and had a cultivation base in the great circle of the body integration realm. As for the Patriarch, he was only at the peak of passing tribulation. So what? But with unyielding faith and the courage to risk his life for his friends, the brave were fearless. The elder ancestor's figure turned illusory, constantly dodging the sharp claws' attacks. Seeing that the Patriarch was in danger, Yi Wushuang flew up and slashed the unparalleled demon-crushing claw with the Heavenly Emperor's sword. Heavenly Dharch sword, universe-severing. Yi Wushuang transformed his sword spirit into the sword, and the Heavenly Emperor's silhouette appeared behind him. His sword true intent was elevated to an extremely high level, and he was unstoppable. Boom! Kacha, kacha, kacha! A single sword strike had broken the demonic claw, shocking the people of the underworld. What? The Archemperor was shocked to see that his devilish claw had been destroyed. Never could he have imagined that Yi Wushuang would be this strong. Interesting, but in the end, everything was under his control. Smiling coldly, the Archemperor waved his hand, and the underworld experts began to attack. These underworld overlords were all at the early stage of tribulation passing. Even though they weren't the strongest, they had the advantage in numbers. The Archemperor was facing off against Yi Wushuang. Brat, you'll only die if you follow Yi Chun. You think you're worthy of being mentioned in the same breath as my master? How can an ant compete with the sun and moon? Ah, damn it! The Archemperor roared, reaching out with both hands, causing dark golden metal claws to appear, which shot toward Yi Wushuang. Dong, dong, dong. The Archemperor was so powerful that every step he took could shake heaven and earth. Intense infernal power pulsed out in all directions, and even before he arrived, he was already completely unstoppable. Mountains crumbled, and the Archemperor waved his hands, sending 2 devilish claws of darkness toward Yi Wushuang from 2 different directions. Kill! Yi Wushuang held his sword and slashed at the sharp claws. Boom! Kacha, kacha, kacha! The Heavenly Emperor's sword was incomparably noble, and yet again, it destroyed the devilish claw and stood up to the Archemperor. While the battle was going on outside, Yi Chun transformed into a frost lizard and entered the frozen mountain wall. Relying on the unique characteristics of the frost lizard, Yichen walked quickly in the ice seal. He realized that the inside of the ice seal was actually a small world, completely different from the outside world. In his blurred vision, he saw a beautiful woman sitting on the frozen stone platform. "Yuhan!" Yichen shouted. However, the woman did not respond. Her eyes were closed as if she was meditating or in a state of hibernation. It was indescribable. Yichen looked as far as he could. He realized that although the person was gorgeous and wore revealing clothes like a demon, her face was extremely similar to Su Yuhan's. Even the aura that he sensed from her was very familiar to Yichen. "No matter what you become, I won't give up on you." Yichen's spiritual power exploded, and he returned to his original form. Suddenly, a heavy pressure pressed down on Yichen, making it difficult for him to move. Yichen looked around. The space was still blurry, and the pressure on him was probably due to the special characteristics of this world. However, the woman was right in front of him, and he could not retreat. Dong, dong, dong. Every step he took drained his body and mind. Not only did this place greatly weaken his foundation, but it also interfered with his mind. "Ah!" Yichen shouted, and his meridian channels erupted with powerful ancient divine power. With the support of the ancient divine power, his speed increased, but it was still difficult. Step by step, he walked toward the frozen woman. His long-awaited goal was about to come true, and Yichen was a little excited. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. At that moment, the woman on the frozen stone platform suddenly opened her eyes. At that moment, Yichen saw the light in her eyes, and he fell into a trance. That pair of eyes was both familiar and infinitely charming. Yichen's feelings were instantly complicated. Yichen was shocked, and he quickly stabilized his mind. Relying on the strong resistance of the ancient god body, Yichen pulled himself together and looked at the woman. Ha ha ha! The woman stood up slightly, and with every step she took, her waist swayed. She had a beautiful aura that made all men fall to their knees. Seeing that face again after so many years, Yichen's heart was filled with mixed feelings. "Yuhan, Yuhan!" He kept calling, hoping that Su Yuhan could return to her original appearance. However, the person did not respond. She only revealed a teasing smile. "Yichen!" When the person called his name, Yichen was excited. As expected, the person before him was Su Yuhan. "It must be. Yuhan, I'm here for you. I'll definitely bring you out of the underworld." "Of the underworld? You're so naive." Yichen frowned and observed the person before him carefully. Although the person looked similar, she was different from Su Yuhan on the inside. Thud, thud, thud. The woman walked freely in this space. She walked to Yichen's side. At that moment, an invisible pressure made Yichen's body unable to move again. "Yuhan." Yichen did not give up. He still wanted to wake Su Yuhan up with his voice. "Ha ha!" However, the woman let out a playful laugh. She approached Yichen slowly and extended her hand to touch his face. "What a beautiful face. It gives me a little urge. You're the only man I'm interested in. Yuhan, stop fooling around. Wake up." Yichen released his golden pupil flame in an attempt to transmit his spiritual power to wake Su Yuhan up. However, none of that worked at all. The woman's body leaned against Yichen slowly. Her soft warmth made Yichen feel at ease. That feeling remained the same. Even though the person before him had changed her temperament, that warmth made Yichen recall everything that happened between him and Su Yuhan. "Yuhan." Yichen was a little touched. However, he realized something was off when the woman's hand kept moving around on his body. "You." He happened to bump into the woman's face when he turned his head all of a sudden. An unusual fragrance wafted over, making Yichen's eyes glaze over. Subsequently, the woman kissed him directly. Chapter 1990. Yichen's eyes turned cold when he sensed the hidden danger in the fragrance. Although he really wanted to see his wife and save her, the person in front of him was still not her true self. "How dare you!" The Heavenly Emperor's silhouette appeared behind Yichen. At that moment, supreme majesty and powerful force pushed the charming body away. Ha ha ha. The woman jumped away while laughing out loud. Her eyes were mesmerized while her slender fingers played with her blood-red lips. She seemed to be very satisfied with her behavior. Powerful man, you're looking for Su Yuhan. Unfortunately, you're too late. Where is she? You'll have to find her yourself. The woman was still twisting her body as if she was seducing Yi Chun on purpose. Yi Chun was furious to see such a familiar person acting coquettishly in front of him. How dare you use Yuhan's appearance to humiliate her? You deserve to die. Ha! What ability do you have to fight me in this frozen world? Oh, is that so? Facing the provocation of the charming body, Yi Chun's eyes gleamed coldly. The ancient god power in his meridians was activated to the extreme. With a loud shout, the ice crystals that were suppressing Yi Chun's body began to shatter. Kacha, kacha, kacha. Rumble. Finally, the ice crystals that could not withstand Yi Chun's ancient god power and exploded on the spot. The charming body was shocked. Yi Chun could not believe that he could be so domineering in her home field. She had underestimated him. No wonder you're worthy of the Netherlord. Ha ha. Unfortunately, you're going to die here. Your behavior is unforgivable. Yi Chun would never allow anyone to humiliate Su Yuhan's body. He was really furious this time. Kill. He gathered energy with his fingers and slashed the air. Whoosh. The sword chi caused the ice crystals to explode and the space to shatter. Boom, boom, boom. Along with the traces of an energy explosion, the bewitching body turned pale with fright and flew up. An ice crystal hovered under her feet in the air. Yi Chun, your ability shocked me, but this is my home field. I must complete the Netherlord's order. The Netherlord's order? What do you mean? Ha ha ha. You still don't understand? Me staying here is the Netherlord's order to kill you. Impossible. Yi Chun was secretly shocked. Su Yuhan would never do that. Seeing you in pain makes me excited. Her bewitching body stimulated the surrounding ice crystals to quickly condense, and a long spear appeared in her hand. Ice crystal seal. Suddenly, waves of invisible pressure gathered around Yi Chun again, causing him trouble again. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At the same time, the bewitching body casually tossed the crystal spear into the air. With a point of her slender finger, the crystal spear split into 3, then 6. In the blink of an eye, more than 10 crystal spears were aimed at Yi Chun. Yi Chun, no matter how powerful you are, I'm the king in this frozen world. Go! The bewitching body sent out Ji Lin, and the crystal spear flew over, aiming for Yi Chun's vital points. King? Ha ha! How dare an ant proclaim himself king? Seeing the crystal spear coming at him, Yi Chun glared angrily. The ancient god power in his body surged out. The dragon's roar shook the sky as Yi Chun entered his ancient god form. Boom, boom, boom. Kacha, kacha, kacha. He did not dodge, but took it head-on. Although the crystal spear was extremely sharp, it could not pierce the ancient god golden body. It shattered and fell to the ground. What? The crystal spear that was condensed from the Netherlord's energy was shattered by Yi Chun's body. Such power had exceeded the bewitching body's imagination. At this moment, she could not help but doubt herself. Damn it! The bewitching body's expression was ferocious. Cold frost energy emitted from her body as she entered a state of rage. I want you dead. She flew up and extended her claws. Countless ice crystals wrapped around her claws and condensed into deadly hooks that were about to tear Yi Chun's body apart. Oh! Yi Chun smirked. Finally, the person before him was going to reveal her true colors. Clang! Just as the crystal claws were about to take his life, Yi Chun suddenly stretched out his hand and clamped the claws. You, idiot! You're dreaming if you think you can kill me with such abilities. Yi Chun's expression changed as he opened his mouth. Roar! The heavenly dragon's roar shook, and the crystal claws were shattered by the dragon's roar. The bewitching body was also sent flying. Boom! With a loud noise, the bewitching body was sent flying and hit the frozen mountain wall. The meridians in her body were shaken, and her bones were broken. She was in excruciating pain. Puffed. A mouthful of blood spurted out, and her energy surged. The bewitching body's face began to distort and change shape. The beauty from before was no longer there. It was the face of the frost lizard. Suddenly, Yi-chun sensed a chilly air current appearing above him. "It's you." He immediately thought of the frost lizard on the frozen door. Roar. The frost lizard suddenly opened its huge mouth and tried to swallow Yi-chun. "Huh." With a sneer, Yi-chun pointed his sword to the sky, and the Heavenly Emperor's sword appeared. Whoosh! Sword energy soared into the sky and condensed into the shape of a sword, charging at the lizard's huge mouth. Pissed! With a sound of killing, the frost lizard's huge mouth could not bite down at all. Even its body fell into Yi-chun's control and could not close its mouth. Blood flowed out of the frost lizard's mouth, causing the bewitching body to be enraged. Roar! At that moment, the bewitching body did not look like a human at all. It had completely turned into a monster. "Yi-chun, you deserve to die." With a stern voice and a ferocious face, the bewitching body completely lost control. Frost scales appeared all over its body, and its body grew wildly. It turned into a super monster that was 100 times bigger than the frost lizard. Roar! She roared at the sky. As she swung her tail, heaven and earth shook and the mountain shattered. Countless gravel mixed with ice crystals fell continuously. The entire space was in a state of doomsday. Clang, clang, clang. The sharp claws scratched the ground, causing countless explosions of energy. The entire ice crystal ground collapsed. Thump, thump, thump. The bewitching body attacked Yi-chun in a frenzy. Oh! Since the person in front of him was no longer the person he dreamed of, Yi-chun did not hold back anymore. The power of heaven and earth was unleashed without a doubt. Go! He suddenly stretched out his arm and pointed with his sword finger. The Heavenly Emperor's sword suddenly appeared. Whoosh! The huge sword broke through all the ice crystal obstacles and went straight for the bewitching body. Clang! The bewitching body's 2 sharp claws grabbed the sword's shape, but its body could not stop retreating. Such a huge body seemed to be hit by an unstoppable force, and it kept retreating. Kacha, kacha, kacha. The ground kept cracking. The power of the sword energy could not be stopped and attacked the bewitching body. End of this chapter. Chapter 1991. Yi-chun waited for the right moment to unleash his power. With a thought, the sword shone with dazzling light, instantly piercing through the bewitching body's claws. Pshhh. The sword pierced through the bewitching body's chest and continued to attack. Roar! The bewitching body let out a roar, displaying its crazed state. Under the onslaught of the sword energy, she had lost all ability to defend herself. Her ice crystal defenses began to shatter, and cracking sounds could be heard. As the last of the ice crystals shattered, the Heavenly Emperor's sword pierced through. Pshhh. Fresh blood spurted out, flowing on the ice crystals. Hot and cold intertwined, accompanied by the pained expression of the bewitching body, displaying the cruelty of the battle. Die, demon! Yi-chun roared. The Heavenly Emperor's sword pierced through the bewitching body and stabbed into the ice crystal mountain wall. Behind him, the bewitching body froze like a statue. As the woman screamed, the bewitching body's enormous body began to dissipate into nothingness. She returned to her human form, blood oozing out of her chest. She had been mortally wounded. Ha! Yi-chun, you have no hope of succeeding. The Lord of the Underworld is about to return, and when that happens, Su Yuhan will no longer exist. Ha! With death at hand, the bewitching body began to taunt and provoke Yi-chun. Die! Yi-chun did not want to hear this. With a wave of his sword, he beheaded the bewitching body. Yi-chun had never expected that he would not be able to find the real Su Yuhan in this world of ice. At that moment, the sounds of fighting could be heard, as well as the patriarch's pained cries. Yi-chun looked out coldly at the Arch-Emperor who was chasing the patriarch. Damn it! The Arch-Emperor's actions infuriated Yi-chun even more. Whoosh! With a flash, he broke through the ice crystal mountain wall and reached the outside world. Pshhh. The Arch-Emperor's claws slashed out, and the Patriarch fell to the ground, bleeding profusely. Patriarch! Yi-Chun flew up to catch the Patriarch. Ha! Fellow Taoist Yi, you're finally out. Although he was covered in countless injuries, the Patriarch still had a smile on his face. As long as he saw Yi-Chun return safely, his mission would be completed. Wushuang, take care of the Patriarch. Yes. Yi Wushuang flew up and returned to the back with the Patriarch. Arch-Emperor. Yi-Chun, you didn't die in there. All right, I'll deal with you myself today. The Arch-Emperor chuckled coldly as he locked onto Yi-Chun. You picked the wrong target at the wrong time, Arch-Emperor. The door of death has been opened. Oh, arrogant brat. Who do you think you are? I'm a super expert who is about to ascend to the Mahayana realm. Do you think you have a chance? Not me, but you have already lost your chance. Yi-Chun's eyes shone with vicious killing intent. As of this moment, he wanted to vent all of his pent-up anger. The Arch-Emperor could only blame his bad luck. Kill! The Arch-Emperor roared, drawing on his infernal power to summon 6 sharp claws that shot toward Yi-Chun. Z. At this moment, Yi-Chun's eyes emitted a crimson glow. His ancient god power transformed into layers of wolf silhouettes. At this moment, he had transformed into the most bloodthirsty hunter, the bloodthirsty Skywolf. True Spirit 9, Transformation Bloodthirsty Sky Wolf. Yi-Chun's appearance changed dramatically. Vajra claws grew out of his flesh and blood, glittering with cold light. Scales grew all over his body, and his eyes shone like torches. Roar! As an indistinguishable beast, roar echoed. Yi-Chun moved instantly and attacked all of a sudden. Clang! 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 Crunch! 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 The Skywolf's claws shattered the Arch-Emperor's 6 claws as easily as tofu. Roar! Yi-Chun completely unleashed his bestial nature, and his eyes shone with the light of slaughter, without the slightest bit of human emotion. As of this moment, he was going to kill to his heart's content. Slash! 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 In the blink of an eye, countless wolf silhouettes appeared, making it impossible for anyone to see exactly where Yi-Chun was. All they saw was a flash of cold light as dozens of powerful experts from the Netherworld were beheaded. Even the berserkers from the Netherworld were struck with terror. It was as if they had run into the most vicious predator in the world and were all prey. Damnation! The Arch-Emperor roared. His infernal power surged, and an enormous image appeared behind him. Tyrant slashes the highest heavens. The enormous image waved its long saber, and it was as if a star were descending from the highest heavens. Whoosh! 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 The surrounding infernal power surged, transforming into countless arms, swords, and spears, all of which shot up into the sky. Heaven and earth trembled as massive amounts of power descended to crush the enemy. Awoo! The Skywolf howled, and the sun and moon sank into darkness. The only thing that existed in the world was the full moon, shining with silvery light. Whoosh! 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 The image of the Skywolf was everywhere. Slash! 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 In the blink of an eye, countless powerful experts from the Netherworld were beheaded. The atmosphere was even more terrifying than hell itself. Boom! Boom! At the same time, the might of the Arch-Emperor slashes the highest heavens descended, crushing everything in its path. Hiss! Up in the sky, a pair of silver eyes shot toward the Arch-Emperor. When the Arch-Emperor saw Yi-Chun, he immediately drew upon the might of the highest heavens to appear in front of him. Boom! Boom! Up ahead was a path of destruction. No one could pass through such a path of infernal power. It was a path of death. Calm down, fellow Taoist Yi. Seeing this, the old ancestor shouted. However, Yi-Chun wasn't going to listen to any of that. There was only one path in front of him, not a path of death, but a path of slaughter. Boom! Boom! Finally, the might of the 9 Heavens Destroyer landed on Yi-Chun's body. This level of power could completely kill a conjoint body almighty, But Yi Chun did not dodge at all. There was only killing intent in his eyes. He wanted to vent his anger. Roar! The image of the wolf was surrounded by a vortex of space-time, which opened its mouth and created a black hole. Whoosh! 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 Boundless power was devoured by the vortex of space-time and thrown into the ancient God dimension. Boom! Boom! Boundless power exploded within the ancient God dimension, but the ancient God dimension was incredibly tough. Even if the power was 100 times stronger, it still wouldn't be able to do anything to the ancient God dimension. The Arch-Emperor's expression was one of terror when he realized that his highest heaven slashes had been completely ignored. His opponent was no human. He was a devilish god. Die! It was in that moment that countless powerful experts looked on in terror as the wolf appeared, clawing at Yi Chen's soul. Slash! 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 Blood-colored light filled the air as the wolf's claws tore through everything. In the blink of an eye, the Arch-Emperor was ripped to shreds like a piece of paper. End of chapter. Chapter 1992. The sight of the Arch-Emperor being ripped to shreds by Yi Chen's claws left the underworld experts in complete despair. They looked at Yi Chen as if they were looking at a god of death, and many of them couldn't even stand up to the terrifying pressure weighing down on them, and dropped to their knees. He's a god. One of the experts sighed in admiration, having lost the will to fight. Get up, scoundrel! There were also some experts who refused to obey and shouted at those people who were kneeling on the ground. Despite having killed the Arch-Emperor, Yi Chen's rage didn't subside. Turning, he slashed out with cold light. Shing! A ripping sound rang out, and a man's head flew up into the air. PSSSD! 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 Blood sprayed up into the air in a bloody scene that caused everyone to freeze in place. No one dared to make even the slightest movement or sound. This was the result of Yi Chen's overwhelming power. Whoosh! 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 Yi Chen's aura gradually calmed down, and he returned to his original state. Ha ha ha! These pieces of trash deserve to be killed. The patriarch said, laughing heartily. By this point, the netherworld experts had come to their senses. Their legs were trembling, and their eyes were glazed over, unsure of what to do. Are you still putting on an act, Arch-Emperor? At that moment, Yi Chen suddenly spoke. The patriarch and Wu Shuang looked over at the battlefield and saw that the pieces of bodies that had been torn to shreds were now nothing more than dust. BZZT! BZZT! Up in the air, the Arch-Emperor's body reformed. I really underestimated you, Yi Chen. I can't believe you killed my clone with a single blow. I advise you, netherworld experts, not to get in my way. Otherwise, I'll kill your clone. Ha ha ha. Arrogant bastard. Do you really think the 18 emperors are afraid of human? You can try. The netherworld lord's return is the will of the heavens. You can't stop him, Yi Chen. That's not up to you to decide. Screw off. Furious, Yi Chen summoned the space-time seal. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Instantly, all matter and energy in the surrounding space were affected by the suction force of the space-time fury dragon. All of them rushed toward Yi Chen's back. What's that? No. I can't control my body anymore. All of the remaining infernal realm experts that the Arch-Emperor had brought with him were captured by the space-time Wrathhound. Yi Chen, don't be arrogant. If you don't leave the underworld, you'll die. With that, the Arch-Emperor vanished into the black vortex. The rest of the underworld experts were unlucky. None of them managed to escape. All of them were devoured and absorbed by the space-time fury dragon. After the battle ended, Yi Chen turned around to look at the frozen door. Su Yuhan's silhouette appeared there. Go! The three of them flew out of the Emperor Netherworld mountain range. Lord True Spirit, who had returned to the True Spirit Palace, was furious. Cunning people from the underworld and despicable Yi Chen prevented me from obtaining the Three Realms core. Looks like the Three Realms upheaval is inevitable. The Lord of True Spirit sat cross-legged in the air, regulating his breathing. This trip to the underworld had allowed him to completely understand where he stood. Yi Chen's power terrified him. I can't believe a human can be this strong. Are we really going to have to pray to the heavens again? The Lord of True Spirit couldn't help but think back to when he had prayed to the heavens, when his patriarch had come down and killed the Lord of the underworld. However, the people of the previous generation had thought about things completely different from him. They had already entered the Void Realm, while he was still the Lord of the Spirit Realm. In fact, there were many hidden powers in the Spirit Realm that didn't even recognize him as the Lord of the Spirit Realm. The true Spirit Palace exists only in name. His brows furrowed, and his heart was filled with anger. The true Spirit Lord could not calm down. Zzzt. All of a sudden, a clap of thunder rang out, and auspicious clouds covered the entire palace. Who goes there? The Lord of True Spirit was enraged. Looking up into the sky, he unleashed a palm strike. At this moment, a low roar came from the sky, and an unimaginable power descended. The palm energy of the Lord of True Spirit disappeared without a trace, like a clay ox entering the sea. The Lord of True Spirit's face drained of color as he realized that he had been too rash and had offended a powerful expert. Lord of True Spirit. Here. The Lord of True Spirit hurried over and bowed. How dare you disrespect me? I don't dare, I don't dare. May I ask who you are, and why did you come down? The Lord of True Spirit didn't dare to raise his head, only bowing and waiting for his orders. I am perfected thundercloud from the primordial immortal empire. Because the primordial immortal empire sensed that the 3 realms below are unstable, they sent me here to investigate. So it's perfected thundercloud. Lord of True Spirit, please forgive me for not welcoming you earlier. Cut the crap. Why is the 3 realms in turmoil? The Lord of True Spirit didn't dare to hide anything. He bowed and said, the 3 realms core was obtained by the people of the underworld, and its whereabouts are unknown. Thus, the 3 realms are unbalanced. The primordial immortal empire asked you to maintain the balance of the 3 realms, but you lost the most important thing. Do you know your crime? Perfected thundercloud's angry rebuke made the Lord of True Spirit kneel on the ground. Yes, I do. This time, I personally entered the underworld to retrieve the 3 realms core. However, the underworld's 18 emperors are incomparably ferocious. Moreover, there's also a human cultivator, Yi Chen, who turned against me at the last minute, causing this operation to fail. What? Perfected Thundercloud was furious. There's a traitor in the human race? It's true. This person's name is Yi Chen, and he's extremely talented. After entering the underworld and obtaining the power of the darkness pool, his cultivation base is close to Mahayana stage. We have to be careful. Mahayana stage? Ha! Lord of True Spirit, you're an itinerant immortal, but you're being targeted by a Mahayana stage cultivator. Isn't that too shameful? The Lord of True Spirit reacted, but it was too late. A conjoint body cultivator can make you so afraid. This kid's talent is indeed extraordinary. Interesting. Perfected Thundercloud had long wanted to take in a disciple, but he had searched the human world for a long time to no avail. This time, he heard the Lord of True Spirit say that if he could take in such a talented person as a disciple, it would be something to be proud of in the primordial immortal empire. Lord of True Spirit, take action against the underworld immediately. I will personally descend soon. Yes. The Lord of True Spirit bowed and sent Perfected Thundercloud off. Sigh. Watching the Perfected Thundercloud leave, the Lord of True Spirit frowned in anger. I didn't expect that the Lord of True Spirit, would have such a day. Initially, he thought that he could rely on Perfected Thundercloud to kill Yi Chen. However, judging from Perfected Thundercloud's behavior, he had no intention of killing Yi Chen. He even had the intention of getting to know Yi Chen. This was not the result he wanted. Could it be that I can't even compare to Yi Chen? The Lord of True Spirit worked so hard to break through, hoping that he could be taken in as a disciple by an expert in the upper realm. However, in the past 100 years, he had tried many times to no avail. This time, seeing that Perfected Thundercloud was interested in Yi Chen, he was even more jealous. Chapter 1993. The Lord of True Spirit understood that if he wanted to gain some status in the eyes of the immortals of the upper realm, he had to find the core of the three realms. This trip to the underworld was unavoidable. Since that's the case, then we'll go all out. With an idea in mind, the Lord of True Spirit held an emergency meeting in the True Spirit Palace. Countless experts had gathered at the grand True Spirit Palace Square. On the high platform, Lord True Spirit descended. "Welcome, Spirit Lord." "Very good. Everyone get up." "Yes." Everyone stood up and looked at the stage. Today is the day that the True Spirit Palace shows its power. The underworld has bullied me too much. This time, I will mobilize all the forces of the True Spirit Palace to destroy the underworld and kill the Emperor of the underworld. Destroy the underworld. Kill the Emperor of the underworld. Countless experts roared in anger. Previously, the True Spirit Palace had suffered a setback in the netherworld, which had already made them very angry. This time, they wanted to completely crush the netherworld and take back the core of the three realms. Boom! A huge spirit boat appeared in the sky. Lord True Spirit released his power and guided the boat closer. Everyone boarded the boat. This time, millions of soldiers from the True Spirit Palace were going to conquer the underworld. In the underworld, Yi Chun continued to search for Su Yuhan after leaving the White Frost Forest. But after searching for several months, there was no result. Even the power of the Nether Aura Crystal was weakening. This was not good news. Fellow Taoist Yi, is this Nether Aura Crystal reliable? The Patriarch could not help but ask. Logically speaking, it's formed by the Lord of the Underworld's aura, so it has a very close connection with Yuhan. However, I think the Emperors of the Underworld might have used some method to cut off this connection. Yichen said. The old ancestor of the Nether Spring furrowed his brows slightly and said, "If that's the case, why don't we just capture an Emperor of the Underworld and interrogate him?" What ancestor said is extremely true. Yichen did not expect the Patriarch of Hell's words to wake him up. Searching like this was somewhat brainless and inefficient. It was better to head to the core of the netherworld to search for information. Go. All right. My hands are itching for a fight as well. The three of them headed toward the core of the netherworld. At this moment, a dark hummingbird flew away from the void. The underworld hall. Archemperor, aren't you going to take responsibility for the failure of the last mission? The Snake Empress sat high up in the hall and said coldly, "Snake Empress, Yi Chen's strength is far above our estimation. Now that he's absorbed the power of the origin of darkness, his strength has soared. It won't be easy to fight him directly. Are you afraid? When did a coward appear among the 18 emperors of the underworld? Moreover, he is a member of the upper 9 emperors." The Archemperor's heart trembled. The Snake Queen was a swift and decisive person and was not like most women. If she got a hold of a weakness, it would be very difficult to deal with. Hand over the commanding authority. All right. The Archemperor knew that the truth was that the Snake Queen had long since taken control of the army. His power now existed only in name, and therefore, it didn't matter if he handed it over to her. He handed over the imperial seal. Everyone, from today onwards, listen to the Snake Queen's orders. Yes. The Corpse Emperor, the Bone Emperor, and the other experts bowed to him. Snake Queen, the Archemperor also clasped hands and bowed. As a result, all of them were now subordinates of the Snake Queen. The Corpse Emperor and the Bone Emperor both shook their heads at the sight of the Archemperor's attitude. Their operation against Yi Chun and the True Spirit Hall had been a complete failure and had left them with no face whatsoever. Therefore, it was obvious that they were being led by a woman. Corpse Emperor, Bone Emperor, wake up the other lower 9 emperors. The True Spirit Hall is coming. Snake Queen, what's the meaning of this? The Corpse Emperor and the Bone Emperor didn't understand. Many of the lower 9 emperors were in a state of hibernation, which was a type of cultivation. If they were woken up prematurely, it would reduce the results of their cultivation. To the lower 9 emperors, that would be a huge loss and could even infuriate them. Of course, the two of them didn't want to do something like that. All of a sudden, the Snake Queen's eyes blurred before suddenly opening wide. The two of them felt a great shock from the depths of their souls and knelt on the spot. You dare to question me? We wouldn't dare. We wouldn't dare. The Bone Emperor and the Corpse Emperor said, trembling, not daring to look up. Remember, my words are the words of the Upper Nine Emperors. Anyone who dares to disobey will be killed without mercy. Yes, yes. Everyone bowed at the same time. This was to establish their own authority. Carry out the order. Yes. The Bone Emperor and the Corpse Emperor flew toward the lower levels of the Netherworld. In the lower levels of the Netherworld, in the depths of hell, a powerful aura concealed everything. Here, there was nothing but mist and blood. Even the Bone Emperor and the Corpse Emperor would feel chills running down their spines. The Corpse Emperor, the Bone Emperor, and the Blood Emperor were the lowest of the lower 9 emperors, and not all of them were weaklings. Some of them were even stronger than the upper 9 emperors. In the depths of hell, they were all in hibernation, and if they were woken up, the consequences would be unpredictable. The fact that the Snake Queen had asked them to do all of this was to avoid the risk. Damn it, are we really going to do as that woman says? The Bone Emperor said angrily, AI, there's nothing we can do. You're still injured, and you're missing one of the Corpse, Bone, and Blood Emperors. There's no way we can fight the Snake Queen. Even the Arch-Emperor is willing to submit to her. What else can we say? The Corpse Emperor said, AI, in the end, the lower 9 emperors are being looked down upon by the upper 9 emperors. That's not necessarily true. If we release him, no way. You're going to release him? Why not? He's unreasonable, and we can't afford to offend him. Besides, he told us not to do anything before he went into seclusion. You're courting death. The Bone Emperor's eyes turned cold. Since the Snake Queen wanted to monopolize the power, he would let the Soul Reaper have some fun. The two of them walked toward the depths of hell. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The astral winds were biting cold, and the aura was oppressive. The environment here was completely different from the outside. The wails of resentful souls could be heard everywhere. If one wasn't a member of the lower 9 emperors, his or her soul might be devoured. Even I feel intimidated by the aura here. It seems the Soul Reaper's strength has improved again. Ha ha ha. Isn't that what we want to see? Let's hope so. The two of them walked toward the depths of hell, where a stone well appeared. The well was filled with killing chi, death chi, and poisonous miasma. The Corpse Emperor and the Bone Emperor walked up to the well. Get out of the way. All right. The Corpse Emperor stepped aside, and the Bone Emperor stepped forward, placing his palms on the well. Mima, Mima, Mima. The Bone Emperor chanted an incantation, and immediately the power of the incantation flowed into the well. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Immediately, the sound of cold wind could be heard coming from the well, and the smell of blood rushed out. Even the Corpse Emperor, who had spent a lot of time with corpses, felt nauseous and uncomfortable. Get out of the way, the Bone Emperor shouted, and the two of them retreated. Rumble. Chapter 1994. Rumble. Suddenly, a rumbling sound came from the well. Then, countless bones broke and flesh was torn apart. Roar. A roar accompanied by anger soared to the sky. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Suddenly, the sky was filled with red mist, covering the crescent moon, and the power of darkness descended. The Corpse King was shocked and even frightened. Don't retreat. We have to hold on, or it will only be more dangerous. All right. The two of them stood where they were and waited. This was the kind of personality that could captivate souls. Weaklings only added to his desire to kill. Only by resisting this kind of pressure could the two of them have a chance of survival. Rumble. Then, the whole well exploded, rocks crumbled, flesh, bones, and all kinds of disgusting things burst out from the bottom of the well along with green liquid. The two emperors were both shocked at the same time. In fact, balls of filthy things were directly splashed onto the two of them. However, they did not dare to move and could only endure it, because once they triggered the ultimate killing intent of the Soul Hook and Devour, it would be impossible for them to walk out of hell. Corpse King, Bone King. Suddenly, an angry voice came from the void above the red mist. Soul Hook and Devour, this is not our idea. This is the order of the Snake Queen. The Bone King said, I don't care what bird or Snake Queen, just die. The Soul Hook and Devour was really angry, stretching out a huge blood-red claw, aiming at the Bone King and the Corpse King. The Corpse King was shocked, and the Bone King sent out a palm strike. Rumble. The Bone King's palm print collided with the Soul Hook and Devour's sharp claw. Kacha, kacha, kacha. In an instant, the palm print shattered, and the sharp claw continued to approach. Soul Hook and Devour. Are you going to defy the order of the Snake Queen? Snake Queen is nothing. When I was cultivating, I told you not to disturb me. How dare you touch my well without my permission? You are courting death. We are following orders, and this time, there is a good target for you to devour. Don't try to deceive me. You are dead meat. The Soul Hook and Devour was really angry, and even in the face of the two emperors, it was still unrelenting. Go! As the Soul Hook and Soul Devourer sent out another palm strike, countless venomous insects and ferocious beasts rushed out of the red mist and went straight for the Corpse Sovereign and Bone Sovereign. You're too much. The Bone Sovereign was infuriated. Disregarding the injuries on his body, he activated the countless bone chains. Kacha, kacha, kacha. The earth split apart and mountain rocks shattered. The bone chains transformed into a formation that locked onto those poisonous bugs and ferocious beasts. Ha ha! Bone Emperor, long time no see. Is this all you got? Ridiculous. Being ridiculed by the other party, the Bone Sovereign's pride in his heart erupted. The bone chain array continued to strengthen, trapping countless venomous bugs within. Chi, chi, chi. Just when Bone Emperor thought that he was still in control of the situation, countless of red balls suddenly floated out from the soul-sucking devourer. Kacha, kacha, kacha. These spheres fell into the bone chain formation and collided with the poisonous insects and beasts. In an instant, they turned into red blood mist and seeped into the bodies of the poisonous insects and beasts. Let me show you something new. The Soul Hook Devourer sneered. Then, absorbing the power of the red ball, the poisonous insects and ferocious beasts went crazy. Roar. The roar of the beasts shook the void. Kacha, kacha, kacha. Then, the bone chains were bitten off by those poisonous insects and ferocious beasts. Impossible. The Bone Sovereign turned pale with fright. If his bone chain array couldn't even deal with these poisonous insects and ferocious beasts, then how strong would the real body in the red mist be? The Corpse Sovereign was scared silly. The opponent in front of him wasn't someone they could deal with. Perhaps it was a mistake to awaken this person. Ha! It's my greatest pleasure to see your terrified expressions. The 18 Emperors of Underworld are all experts. Once you become weak, you will lose your qualification as one of the 18 Emperors. At that time, it won't be a problem for me to kill you, right? The Corpse Sovereign and Bone Sovereign exchanged a glance. They understood that the soul-sucking devourer wasn't a joke. This bastard could really do such a thing. Kill. The Corpse Sovereign released the Corpse Mountain and Blood Sea at the same time. Rumble. The Corpse Mountain towered over the sea of blood. Above the peak, the Corpse Sovereign faced the soul-sucking devourer head-on. Soul-sucking devourer, you dare to fight the Emperor of Netherworld to the death? You're simply insane. Do you really think that the two of us are weaker than you? The Corpse Sovereign pulled himself together, hoping to use the pressure from the two of them to make the soul-sucking devourer yield. However, they still underestimated the soul-sucking devourer who had been in seclusion for hundreds of years. Ha! With just the two of you trash? Go to hell. Such an action triggered the murderous intent of the soul-sucking devourer. Obviously, the Bone Sovereign and the Corpse Sovereign had fallen into an absolute crisis. Rumble. At this moment, a violent tremor came from the outside. A powerful force shook the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Sensing this force, the soul-sucking devourer's face revealed a look of excitement. This is the smell of an expert. How delicious! The soul-sucking devourer stuck out his nose and sniffed the air. His nose was like a giant mouthpiece. It was extremely bloody and strange. You two trash aren't even qualified to be devoured by me. The real expert has already descended into the underworld. Although the Bone Sovereign and the Corpse Sovereign were furious, they did not dare to speak anymore. This was their only chance. Rumble. With a loud tremor, the soul-sucking devourer soared into the sky, leaving the two of them with lingering fear. This be Astra's starred. He actually attacked us. The Bone Sovereign scolded. Sigh. It's good enough that he survived. The shock just now was extremely powerful. You also felt it. It's Yi-chun. Yes, this shock is very familiar. It's definitely Yi-chun. I didn't expect Yi-chun to save our lives. It's just a coincidence. Let's continue to wake up the other emperors. All right. The two of them continued to move. At this moment, outside the underworld temple, Yi-chun and the other two had arrived on the ring-shaped mountain range. Fellow Yi, such a shock can definitely attract the arrival of emperors. The patriarch said, then let's wait. Yi-chun and the other two sat cross-legged on the stone platform, waiting for the arrival. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this time, a gust of wind swept across the sky, and the sky was dark. The entire cloud layer turned into the color of a blood mist. The huge creature in it constantly twisted its ugly body like a pool of blood. It was a dark slime. It constantly transformed into various forms in the sky, obviously adapting to the external environment. Is it you? Provoking me? A heavy voice sounded and reached Yi-chun's ears. Oh, you came quickly. Yi-chun opened his eyes and looked at the void. Yes, it's me. Ha ha. Then, wait for me to tear you into pieces and chew you up. Chapter 1995. Above the bloody mist, a huge head appeared. It was like an incomparably huge octopus head. Such a monster was actually the 18 emperors of the underworld. It was shocking. Go! The soul-sucking devourer roared. Instantly, countless blood-colored poisons flew out of its mouth. Oh, there's something like this? Interesting. Let me play with it. Seeing the poisonous mist, the Patriarch of Hell flew out with the Netherworld sword in his hand. Sword Chi Netherworld, 100 refinement. The Netherworld energy surged, and flames soared into the sky, refining all poisons. Pist, pist, pist. When the poisonous mist touched the Netherworld sword Chi, it instantly turned into countless phosphorescent flames that filled the sky. Damn it! Seeing that the poisons he spat out were all killed by the Netherworld sword Chi and even refined and absorbed, the soul-sucking devourer was furious. Tell me your name before you die. Ha! My real name is the Patriarch of Hell. Who are you? I, the soul-sucking devourer, will take your life today. Ha ha, what a lousy name. Die. The Patriarch of Hell laughed out loud. The Netherworld sword once again generated a gust of wind. Countless sword chi transformed into the power of death and went straight for the core of the bloody mist. Boom, boom, boom. Following that, countless energy explosions spread out. Within the bloody mist, there was a loud rumble, but the huge monster did not make any sound as if it did not hurt him at all. The Patriarch of Hell was slightly moved, finding it strange. Patriarch, be careful. Yi-chun reminded him at that moment. When the Patriarch turned around, he realized that countless bats were charging at him. Squeak, squeak, squeak. These blood-colored bats carried a thick stench of blood. They had sharp teeth and were bloodthirsty. Ha ha ha. It's ridiculous that you want to fight me with your level. The soul-sucking devourer laughed out loud. He had absorbed all the sword chi that the Patriarch of Hell had sent out earlier, and even evolved the bloodthirsty bats. That was his technique. Slash. At that moment, the Heavenly Emperor's sword spirit appeared between Yi Wushuang's brows. With a wave of his hand, sword chi erupted like a tidal wave and charged at the blood-colored bats. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Wherever the sword chi passed, the bats' bodies exploded into a bloody mist and returned to the void. Ha, you guys are quite interesting. Let me have some fun. I've been cultivating for hundreds of years in the dry well, and it's getting a little boring. This time, I'll use you guys as a sacrifice. The soul-hooking devourer revealed a sinister smile. His figure transformed, and 8 arms stretched out at the same time. Roar. The roars of beasts rang out again and again. Heaven and earth changed color. and a bloody mist filled the air. It was a terrifying scene. Chi, chi, chi. Subsequently, blood that looked like seawater spurted out of the 8 gigantic hands and attacked Yi Chun and the other 2. Danger. Yi Chun understood that the blood contained lethal poison. Only he could deal with it. Heaven-devouring roar. The 9 transformations of the true spirit formed the image of a supreme giant beast. Its roar devoured the heavens, and everything became peaceful. Hoo. The endless amount of blood was completely devoured by the heaven-devouring serpent. The sky was clear. What? It was impossible for anyone to devour such a large amount of poisonous blood. That would be courting death. However, just what was going on in front of him. Bewitching soul, devouring soul, fell into confusion. Who the hell are you? How dare you swallow my blood? The person who killed you. Facing the confused, soul-hooking devourer, Yi Chun responded coldly. Ha, very well. The soul-hooking devourer's strongest killing intent was instantly aroused. He extended his 8 arms at the same time and grabbed Yi Chun. Slash. 3 orders were issued. The immortal slaying flying saber merged into 3 forms and flew out. Chi. In the sky, the immortal slaying light shone endlessly. Wherever the light passed, the sound of slicing could be heard. A painful roar followed. The soul-hooking devourer's 8 arms were cut off by the immortal slaying flying saber at the same time. They turned into pieces of flesh and fell to the ground. Chi. These pieces that fell to the ground also contained lethal poison. They could even corrode rocks. Die. This time, the soul-hooking devourer was completely furious. His reputation was going to be destroyed by Yi Chun. This was unacceptable. He had been in closed-door cultivation for hundreds of years. The day he came out, he should be killing everywhere. However, his 8 arms were easily broken. What was this? 3 souls and 7 spirits. Listen to my call. Hiss. Suddenly, the soul-hooking devourer activated a secret spell. The flesh and blood that had been cut into pieces earlier turned into black mist and soared into the sky. Retreat. Yi Chun shouted. Whoosh. The patriarch and Wushuang returned to Yi Chun's side in a flash. What is this? The patriarch asked. This person is very strange. This should be a double formation that targets the mind and body. You guys retreat. All right. The 2 of them retreated quickly. Only Yi Chun faced the soul-hooking devourer. Trash. Are you ready to die? You idiots. I'm going to devour your souls. Die. Facing Yi Chun's mockery, the soul-hooking devourer completely lost control. He wanted to use all the power that he had accumulated in hundreds of years of closed-door cultivation to defeat the opponent before him. However, he did not know that he was facing the heavenly emperor of the past. 9th Heaven Thunderpalm. As Yi Chun waved, 9 rays of dragon energy shot out at the same time. The momentum of the thunder was unstoppable. Roar! The 9 dragons appeared, and heaven and earth shook. Rumble. Those pieces of flesh that wanted to return to the bloody mist were completely crushed by Yi Chun's thunderpalm. This way, the soul-hooking devourer formation would lose enough energy. Damn it! The soul-hooking devourer was furious. He sacrificed his flesh and blood to complete the formation. Very bold. Unfortunately, it's still useless. A lotus appeared under Yi Chun's feet, and golden light bloomed behind him. The heavenly emperor's disposition was invincible. Sizzle. He stepped on the lotus and rose to the sky. With the heavenly emperor sword in his hand, he judged life and death. Heavenly Emperor Order. Human Sword Revolution. Swoosh. The sword energy was like a tornado, soaring into the sky and coming in a frenzy. The soul-hooking devourer sensed the destructive power contained in the sword energy. He was stunned on the spot, and he was terrified. Impossible. As one of the 18 emperors of the underworld, how could he fall here? Go. He could only attack the incomplete formation in a hurry. Swoosh. The soul-hooking devour muddy sky formation was filled with bloody mist. It was like a giant mouth that devoured living beings. Meanwhile, Yichen stood alone in the bloody mist without fear. Is this your last fight? I'll grant you your wish. Heavenly Emperor order, Earth sword reversal. Yichen stomped on the ground with both feet, and the ground shook. He suddenly slashed against the momentum and soared into the sky. Whoosh! The sword energy was extremely sharp, and it contained the killing rule. It was the judgment of heaven and earth. No one could stop it. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Blood filled the sky, and flesh and bones were everywhere. One sword cut through the chaos, and one sword cut through the evil. Accompanied by an incomparably shrill roar, the soul-hooking devourer's enormous body shattered in the sky, turning into endless blood rain that corroded the ground.